Welcome to Come Box with Chann. How you going, this lady Chann? But none less. Yep, and today we are talking the big boys, the heavyweights and their division. And I'm joined by my Jenna, Fight Fan Figures.
Hey,
Yeah.
hey, hey, hey.
What's up, Lee?
Evening, everyone. Evening. I'm good, Chann. How are you?
I'm all right, not too bad. Just yeah, like I was saying, just recovering from the tragedies of we were supposed to do this show last week and I got a bit of the old food poisoning eating
Yeah,
some
bit of
takeaway chicken,
rescheduling
didn't
going
I?
on.
Yeah.
Yeah. But you needed your rest. Health comes first.
I know you did say that and you was very understanding, which I
I was
must
quite vexed, you know. No, I'm joking.
I really hated you that day, that if I could have done it I would, but the toilet was my god, so it just wouldn't have worked, I'm afraid, guys. I had to be posted near the bog. Oh God, Chann, TMI, but hey. Right, so Lee,
Yo.
what I need to do, I'm gonna put in the link into the chat just in case we have people that want to come through like the woo, who knows? Who knows? I've got a bit of a frog in my throat now as well. So I'm falling apart, I tell ya. This boxing it's tragedy. That's what it is. Also, I need to put it in the. I wonder. Hang on, one sec. I'm going to put it into the private chat. Copy and paste it. Can I do that? Where's the private chat gone? Oh, does it not load that up? Oh yeah, there it is. I'm still sometimes so not the greatest on this. I forget. Send it to anybody that wants in the private chat. People will load up, but we shall start. I wanted to.
Are we live yet then?
Yeah, we're live. This is the mad. You know me. We are absolutely live. But I just want to sort something out real quick. Oh shit! I missed someone else's show that was supposed to be live, but they should have. Okay. It's funny. Someone invited me on there. Big up Counterpunch Boxing News all day long. You know what I need to do? What I'm going to do is copy this. I wonder if I can send it to. But I actually listened to the show. I listened to his show as a. It's just sometimes there's someone that listened, but I didn't realize that they actually invited me in the show because they sent it via email. And yeah, I've just seen it now.
What time was it? Have you missed it, or was it happening now? Was it?
Oh no, it happened like ages ago, like 5 o'clock this afternoon. But I actually saw it come up on my YouTube anyway, so I was watching it anyway. But I just didn't check my email. I didn't know that I was invited on the phone. Yeah. This is why people love the show, because we are raw. We are raw, aren't we, Lee?
Listen, that Ohara Davis interview had me in stitches.
Did you love it?
Funny. Yeah, I did. That was funny.
Did you love it?
Funny.
This
is Come Box with Chann. We don't worry about hurting people's feelings.
Yeah, we know business about everybody's type. Just come in and you get me. Like I don't know why. Yeah, I don't know. Sometimes people they think it's too much outside the box. And they.
This is genuine opinion. If someone gets offended by a genuine opinion, what can
then they're
he's not aiming to just be out of order.
Yeah. Then they're silly people, aren't they? But we have no time for. Hang on. I'm sending out it to also. So I tell you what, we're going to start with because this is what people always. I see people always criticizing me because there's critique and criticism. And it's like, listen, guys, I'm not a boxing expert. I'm a girl that loves boxing, and I'm a girl that's learning as I was raised in boxing. And then I made my venture in music, and became a mother. So wasn't always on the road of boxing. Lockdown happened. I got back into boxing. I got picked up by Tunde Ajayi. I got endorsed first and foremost by Spencer Fearon. I'm learning, guys. I don't know everything, and I'm not embarrassed to say that I don't. If I don't know something, I'll ask. Or, as everybody knows, my nice big pen, I jot things down and I will look it up. Like, I spend a lot of time researching, and people will hit in the comments, just to let you know, just like, I'm not saying anything bad, but, and then, you know, when they say that, they're going to say something bad. So it's just like, yeah. What I know is what I know. I'm a student of the game. That is what I say.
I think that there should be a space for all levels of opinions in boxing. You know,
Yeah.
all people that enjoy it.
Yeah.
You know, we're not all trainers. We're not all, you know, previous heavyweights, previous champions.
Analyze.
We give our perspective from what we think, and
right.
You know,
this is what I'm
it's
saying.
just an opinion at the end of the day. It's just an opinion.
Yeah, and we do. We are still students of the bloody sport. We love it and we study it. And I'd like to think that I know quite a fair deal of some of the bits. You know, gosh, give me a break. But anyway, yeah. So we are going to just tap in. So what I'm going to be talking about is, well, we're talking about the heavyweights. Devil Beats, big up. Lockdown gang, Smoke, you know you can come through like the woo when you're ready. Yeah, I know, but you know. So me and Lee are gonna have a word, but you can come through, and wait backstage at any time, because we want everybody's vibe and opinion. So Lee, this is what I was saying. Peace, Smoke. So I wanted to start at the heavyweight division. I want to say that I'm finding this division a little uninspiring, to say the least, because I feel that it's becoming a bit stagnant. I feel that it's becoming a bit cherry picked. I feel that it's just the same same people on, like, that are mentioned time and time again. Obviously, that you got the top dogs, so that's why they're going to be mentioned time and time again. But I would like to start with, like, you know, certain prospects of the heavyweight who I've just, you know, that I know about, some that I'm not in the know and I've researched and watched bits about. And I'll tell you who I'm really interested in is Filip Hrgović.
Okay.
Really in. So I'll run off a few of the bits. To my understanding, he's like 27 years old, so he's still a young lad from Croatia. The guy, he's super decorated. Yeah, he comes from an Olympian background, so he was even with, I think at one point he snuck in and took the gold off of Joshua or something like that. So he's had a bronze, he's had a gold. Yeah, he's very decorated anyway, and he's had right. Let me think. So all right, so stats: 6'6" out here, Lee. So he's the same height as Joshua. About same weight as Joshua as well, like on this, what Joshua's weighing now, like 17 stone, 3 pounds. He's got a 78% knockout ratio. He's got the WBC international belt. What else do I know about? So I've been hearing his name, obviously, playing about, so I thought, oh, Chann, let me just watch this guy. This guy is wild. This guy is, Lee, This guy beats people up. Like, his punch power is on a next fucking level. I'm scared. Like, I've never watched like a fight and been like this. Ooh, 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 ooh. Like, every time he was like, man's got a mad overhead right. So I watched him destroy in 3 rounds. Eric Molina. Destroyed drummer boy. He had to play them drums all the way back to Americano y Mexico. Tú sabes. Play those drums all the way back because your ring walk looked very good, Eric Molina, but the way you left that ring, it was wild. I'm not sure. Do you want to chime in? And did you see that fight, Lee?
Yes, I did. That was on the Joshua Ruiz 2 or Ruiz Joshua 2.
Yeah.
Undercard, wasn't it? Yeah, it was a good fight. I like Hergovic. She's an exciting fighter. I like the heavyweights. I like the heavy punches. You know, as much as the sweet science is a beautiful thing to watch, I can't say I enjoy it as much as I do a good knockout, a good one-punch knockout, a good combination knockout. Either way, whichever way the knockout comes, I'm up for it. Is Eric Molina, that was kind of, I don't know what to call it, stepping stone fight. We're kind of waiting for him to fight we're waiting for him to step up with his Kurgovic.
Yeah.
To be honest, to be fair, he's been calling out people. I mean, they was talking about him fighting Hunter.
Yeah. Oh God.
And they were talking about and Alan the Savage Babbage has been calling Hergovic out for a while.
Oh, he don't want it, and he's out the game.
I was going to ask you that. For what you said, yeah, he's got a shoulder injury or something.
Got a shoulder injury. He's out.
I was surprised he wasn't in one of Eddie Hearn's cards that he's released, and then I saw on his Instagram that he's injured for a bit.
Yeah.
And I think Dylan White said in one of his interviews that it's
hard to recover.
He'd been trying to tell him that you need to do other stuff rather than just spar and box, and now he's realizing. He's saying, conditioning.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
You just prepare your body to protect it. But yeah, it's I think he's I don't know who would be a good fight for him. I kind of think Hunter's a lot more proven. But if they go in, it'll still be a good fight. You've got I like Michael Hunter as well. As much as I was saying I love the power of the heavyweights, if there's somebody I like his movement, his speed.
But wait, Lee, can we just stick to Hergovic before we just graduate into these other heavyweights? Yeah, so Michael Hunter's called him out, and he Hergovic is saying that nobody ever wants to take fights with him. I can see why.
It's a dangerous fight. It's a dangerous fight, and it's one of those again, isn't it? High risk, low reward.
He destroyed him.
Yeah, but Eric Molina's kind of coming towards the end, isn't he? He's looking for his last few paydays.
Yeah, 37. But he's had only 5 defeats. Joshua beat him, Wilder. Who else beat him? Joshua, Wilder. Who else beat him? He's had 5. Did Fury fight him?
Yeah, well, no, not Fury. Hergovic beat me. Dominic Brazil.
Dominic Brazil. Yeah, and he's got another 2. That's it. And he's got another 2. But they're quite big defeats, so you can't really say that he's rubbish because he's not.
No, I never said he's rubbish. I said he's at the end.
Exactly. Yeah.
It was a good step up fight for Hergovic. We're ready to go in with a bit more of a live opponent, somebody that's a lot more closer to the prime years.
Yeah, that fight was embarrassing but I didn't get I just want to explain to the people that. So it looks Hergovic's killing punch is like he does a mad like looping rights and overhead rights, right? And in that fight he kept banging the back of my man's head, so he kept complaining. Little drummer boy over here.
But didn't he keep ducking, if I remember? Didn't he keep?
Molina.
Yeah, wasn't it his defensive style?
Yeah, because he's very crouchy. Yeah, he kept bending at the waist and being a bit quite crouchy. So when my man was going for him, it would always catch him at the back. But it seems like that seems something that Ergovic does a bit. And that ref, in all fairness, was rubbish. That refereed that fight, because Ergovic should have got a point or two deducted, even if I know the fight was only 3 rounds, but he weren't really warned. The ref didn't really pull him aside and say, like, look, you keep, because even though Molina kept saying, like, yo, you know, he keeps doing this at the back of the head. And when he was watching the camera, then, you know, the replay, you could clearly see that they was catching him at the back of his head. But the geezer, I don't know. I think he's great, and he's well worth a mention. But you know, when in round 2 when he clobbered Molina down, but I mean, Molina was on the floor, but the ref decided not to do a count. I think the ref did that twice. Yeah, so in round 2 he did like a clobbered him with a looping right, and then like a left hook, and that was Molina doing that to Hrgovic, because Molina did do some good, you know, he threw some good shots, but he just didn't have time. He just didn't have time, mate. And then he went down again, and then the ref didn't count it again. It wasn't a count again, and then on the third, and then it was a stoppage on the 3rd round. So the fight was quite a strange one to me. I don't know, but do you think he just took that as so for Hrgovic it was just like he was just like the journeyman, and then for Molina it was just like a quick thing. What is it?
Judging by Molina's reaction, I don't know if he thought that Hrgovic was a prospect and he wouldn't be able to handle him, that Hrgovic wouldn't be able to handle Molina's experience, and he was just thoroughly shocked when he felt the power, and he didn't take the loss very well, and especially with, as you said, there was a few punches to the head. But I haven't watched it again, but when I watched it at the time, I remember thinking that Hrgovic was kind of putting his head there to be punched, and it's like, you can't be ducking and then complaining to the referee. And it was like, yeah, I didn't quite agree with the feeling that Hrgovic should have been punished for it.
But I did. Watch it again and see. That ref was weak. Weren't a good ref. I forget his name. I've seen him ref a few fights. And when you've got like 2 fighters that are like 6'4", 6'6", I don't think you should have a ref that's like anything shy of 6 foot.
Why? I don't think it makes a difference.
It does, because that ref doesn't see all the shots. You need kind of to be like, you need to be all encompassed, and you need almost, you're not going to be taller than the fighters, maybe in some cases, but you know, like a semi like aerial view. I just think when that ref was tiny,
you're in the ring, you're able to position yourself in the best possible place.
Then it
can't be a reason for him missing shots. If he's missing action, maybe it's his position or something. But I don't think his height would be the reason.
He's just not the greatest. He's just not the greatest ref. I just didn't think he was the greatest ref. We've got a few people coming through just saying their piece. I mean, like on the comments. But I wanna, before I flash them up on the comments, I wanna see who do you wanna bring up with the heavyweights? What do you want to say? And we can we'll expand. But what do you want to talk about? A specific heavyweight situation that's happening, or someone that's caught your eye, or a prospect? What do you think?
Well, if we're talking prospects, there's Tony Oka. That's got a fight coming up with Joseph Parker, and he's somebody else that kind of like Hrgovic. He's been a prospect for a little bit longer than I would have expected. I don't know if COVID has sorted things out. I would have expected them to have had a few more step-up fights by now. But he's having his with Joseph Parker, and that's kind of, so, you know, Filip Hrgovic needs a name like Joseph Parker on his. I think it's a good stepping stone. Yeah, they're building it they're trying to build it as a bit of a grudge match in New Zealand, and they're building it up. And they've been in negotiations before. It's fallen through 2 or 3 times before, but it seems to be getting over the moon now.
Are they fighting because Junior Farr's ill or something? And because Parker was supposed to fight Farr, right?
I cannot remember the full ins and outs.
He was supposed to fight Junior Farr. It was supposed to be that big New Zealand derby. but Far's ill, or either Far's ill or there's something due to some test results. One of the
No,
other.
sorry. It is Junior Far. He's fine. I got Far and Yoke. Sorry, really sorry. It is Junior Far.
Oh,
Not Yoka. Sorry,
okay.
it's Junior Far.
You confused me because I was like, yeah, okay, yeah, go on. So,
Yes, sorry. So Junior Far is a prospect.
yeah,
He's coming through. And he's got his fight with Joseph Parker coming up. They've met a couple of times. They've met a few times in the amateurs. I don't know if they met once or they've met twice and it's 1-1. Not quite sure.
mm-hmm.
Yeah, this will be a good fight for him. Junior
Yeah.
Parker to pick up with if he can do something. Because it's you know,
He needs to. He does need to. Because Parker is. Parker's definitely in the top 15 heavyweights.
yes, he is, but
Mm.
he seems to be kind of sliding down the totem pole at the moment.
Mm.
I don't know, even if he gets a victory over Junior Far, whether that's going to climb him up a lot.
Not really.
In fight, his level of opposition, he hasn't been able to secure the meaningful fights.
Yeah. I don't think that will put him in a greater position. Him beating Junior Far, to be honest, it does more for Junior Far than for Parker.
I mean, and he must be frustrated because he was in an okay position in the WBO, which meant that if he had a meaningful fight, he could have been in contention for a spot. Whether it's a go at Usyk for a vacant belt or an interim, or next in line after Usyk had his. There was something really on the line there for the WBO, and he must be frustrated because he's got the pedigree, although we haven't seen much of it in the last few years. But because his last meaningful fight was Dillian White, and he's come off of the back-to-back. He's lost his two meaningful fights. Two of the last meaningful fights he's had with Joshua and Dillian White.
Yeah.
It's that would be a good fight. I would say Joseph Parker, but who knows? It's just left. He doesn't seem battle hot. He doesn't seem battle weary. He doesn't seem like he's been in many wars or.
No.
He's got a reason for his body to start breaking down. I don't know whether it's just hasn't been in there with quality enough opposition. I don't know if he might have lost a bit of the sharpness he had in the ring when he was the champion.
Yeah. I don't know. Well, like we're saying, we're just mentioning, and it's he's worth a mention. So also we're gonna have to chop it up about. But you know what? Who else I was checking out? There's Adam Kawanaki. But what do you think we go with Adam Kawanaki?
Yeah, has he agreed to fight his rematch with Hellenius?
I'm not sure. Because that's what I was watching, the Robert Hellenius one. I heard something, but I don't know if it was that's what they was doing. But don't quote me because I've been on so many. I was on Counterpunch's show, and that we was talking about Robert Hellenius there, and it was mentioned, and I can't remember. And Adam Kawanaki was mentioned, so I can't remember if they were saying that there's going to be the rematch. I'm not sure. So, but the babyface, he's what, 31, 32. These are like he's more in the, where would you put him, in the B list heavyweights?
Yeah, I think he's I don't know. Has he done a bit more than Filip Hrgović? I think he has.
Yeah, he's done more than Filip Hrgović, but is he like world elite? No.
Well, if we separate the top three, then the level underneath them, you got your Povetkin's, your Whites.
Yeah, because I always say elite, world elite, and then I do world. Like those are so the the three that we all know. Fury. Well, not that we all know. Who is it we all know? AJ, Fury. What are we putting Wilder as elite?
I put him up there in the top three. I put him up there in the top three.
You put him up there in the top three?
I put him in the top three.
Wilder.
The current top three, yes, I do.
I put him as a
He's got one loss on a draw.
He's a current affairs boxer, but I can't put it. How do you put it? Yeah, this is where we're going to go in. How do you put?
We always do when it comes to Wilder. We always do because
how do you put Wilder as the top three?
I put value on 5-year WBC champion. I think it was 9
So what? Look at his resume, Lee.
One loss, but he still did it. He was still WBC champion, heavyweight champion of the world. He still had 9 defenses. You get what I mean? It's that you can't take it away from him.
You can't put elite in the same sentence.
Hold on. We're talking about the top tier of the current heavyweights. And if you don't put the guy that's just lost his belt, he lost it in his last fight.
Yeah.
He had the WBC belt for 5 years. He's got to be included in the conversation. If we include, he's got to be. Just through his achievements. It can't be helped. I know it annoys people, but his achievements are his achievements. And if it was that easy, I would have done it. I don't think it is that easy.
But Lee.
I don't think they give out heavyweight championships like that.
And figures, yeah, I know. But you've got to realise he's fought no one. He's got no. Come on, I feel like a broken.
I don't think Luis Ortiz is any joke. I don't think he's any joke.
Yeah, but do you remember the malarkey with all of that? Oh, I'm never fighting Ortiz. He's old. He fought Ortiz when Ortiz was first 36.
This is boxing. They all say whatever suits them.
Ortiz at 40.
But they all say what suits them at that point in time. Whatever suits them at that point in time.
So that's why he's not elite. He's just so not elite. But all right, so going on that. So we've got the elite that you've chucked Wilder well in there. World level, where does it come down to? So world level for me,
White Povetkin. Usyk is unproven heavy.
Well, you don't really know. He is world level coming from cruiserweight, but is he world level in heavyweight? Don't know yet.
No, so I'd say the next three here: Usyk, Dillian White, Alexander Povetkin. You've got to throw Andy Ruiz in there.
Yeah, Andy Ruiz, definitely. I would rather take Andy Ruiz out of world, and I'd put him in elite and take Wilder out of elite and put Andy Ruiz as 3. I'm telling you.
Andy Ruiz.
The unified
title fights.
Yeah.
He's lost 2-1-1 in his title fights. He lost to Parker, lost the rematch to Joshua.
Yeah.
He was unified champion. He did hold the belts once. He wasn't able to defend them. I think that puts him in a second.
Well, he defended them, but he just lost them.
Well, yeah, he wasn't able to successfully defend them. I think he puts him in the second tier. I don't think he puts him in the top tier. You can't be top tier for, holding a set of belts and losing in your next fight. Yeah. I think it puts you up there in the tier below.
You couldn't do it.
That's what I'm saying. So I just don't think it makes him top tier. If you're talking about Wilder shouldn't be top tier, and you're trying to shoehorn Andrew Wiggins for that.
You said Wilder should be because to get the WBO like that,
and to hold it.
Andy Ruiz
title defenses. Yeah, he's held a championship, multiple defenses,
way better level.
Drawn one. And I don't think that's it. I don't think Andy Ruiz doing that once, having 3 title defense, 3 title fights, losing 2 and winning 1, makes him in the contemporary top 3. I don't think it does. I would put Deontay Wilder in there.
Okay, I could see your point now. It was just a challenge.
But it's still subjective, isn't it? Everyone's going to have their own list. And
yeah,
that's a great thing.
Why? What? I can get why you're saying that. I can work with that. Devil Beats, I'm here. Walk on. Thanks for tapping in. Lockdown gang. Yeah, this is the, if anybody wants to tap in. Big up Jalik. I'm just going to give people a couple shouts out. Was on my other one on accident. Do you know what? I tried to see how that looks on going live on YouTube, and tell me, what does it do? Because when you're on live on YouTube, I don't know, it's different. It's a different thing. I wanted to see what was the difference of going live on YouTube via StreamYard than going live directly on YouTube, if you get what I'm saying. I'm trying to work out. So yeah, so Sam, like, we'll speak about this after. Devil Beats is saying I'd like to see him with Joe Joyce and Hunter. I really like Hunter's style with him. So is he talking about Ergovich, do you reckon? Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
I think so. And that would be, could you imagine Joe Joyce and that? Because they're both two powerhouses. They're both like juggernauts, mate.
I think they fought already in a kind of semi-pro kind of bout. I think Joe Joyce beat Hergovich.
Really?
It was a while ago. Yeah, it was around the time when Usyk beat Joyce. It was a few years ago.
Yeah, back in the was it the Commonwealth or?
No, this was one of the Salons tournaments. So
back when I saw that fight.
5-round tournament.
Yeah, I saw that fight with Usyk and Joe Joyce, a much slimmer Joe Joyce. Obviously, he was being coming in doing his like cruiser fight. But yeah, I saw that. I watched.
I was reading a question from D-Town Blaster asking Lady Chann, does he believe Wilder is better than Povetkin or White? I believe that Wilder has achieved more than Povetkin or White, and therefore I would put him in the current top 3. Whether I think Wilder beats either of those in a fight is a different question, but we're talking about where we would rank them in our, where we're ranking their current copper heavyweights, and I put Wilder in the top tier. I accept that Wilder doesn't have many fans, and I accept that there's a lot of reasons why people don't like Wilder.
Do you really technically think that Wilder is better than Povetkin and White? Or White, or any of them two at all?
Technically, no.
He's a better boxer than any of them.
But he's achieved more.
Yeah, but with his arts, I think D-Town's arts is Wilder better, as in not on his resume. We're just talking about skill set. Is Deontay Wilder a better boxer than Alexander
Than Povetkin or White?
Alexander Povetkin or Dillian White?
Alexander Povetkin seems to me like a consummate professional. Like, that man has studied every angle of every shot. He can tell he does the drills. He's just, he is an apt student. I could not say that about Deontay Wilder. Dillian White has added loads of different strings to his bow. He's learning more with each fight. He's worked with daily trainers.
So is Wilder better than them?
No, he's not.
Yeah,
no, exactly. No, he's not.
That's all he was boxing.
Okay.
See? You see Wilder lovers, yeah? They always go around the mulberry bush. I'm
a Wilder lover. What I would say is that I respect the achievements that he's done. And if we're talking about the top 3, you cannot ignore his achievements. Because if it was that easy, and if it was that easy to hold a belt for 5 years, then a lot more people would have done it.
I said it. He's rubbish. He's rubbish. He's rubbish in every shape, way, and form. You know why? Because he's a bloody idiot. He's an idiot. He's an idiot. Big up. Get this smoke. What's up? What's up? What's up?
Yo.
What's happening? Peace to you. Hey, what's happening, Queen and Champ?
I'm here, man. What's happening? Thanks for joining.
Enjoying Martin Luther King Day. It's a federal holiday here in the States.
Yeah, it is, right?
Yeah.
Big up Martin Luther King.
Just strengthening the foundation, going through the 50s and the 60s.
Yeah.
Give the parents a hug, all that stuff.
Yeah, we don't have that over here, but yeah, my family over there celebrate it. I forgot. Yeah, so big up. So yeah, that's your public holiday for today.
Yeah, that's a nice way to segue into how Deontay Wilder is not a bum. and what he actually has meant to people, right? Because he definitely picked up the
Oh, here
flag
we
of the
go.
struggle and brought it to the 21st century
Oh, here we
in his
go.
own special way, right?
Here
But
we go. Me and you are really
you
going to
know,
go at it.
right,
Let me
right.
finish. Let
Me
me
and you are
finish.
going at it today, mate. Me and you are going at it. I'm going to give you some smoke.
No, I think
Nobody
yeah.
has brought nothing towards no Black history. He's
Stick
he's
it.
he's tarnished it. He's tarnished the name. He's shrouded it in mockery and stupidity, sheer idiocy with what he has decided to do. Smoke. He has blamed his great Black history costume for his downfall, effectively. So that straight one, you're out there. Number two, you sack your long-standing Black brother, if we're going to put it down to that mantra, and kept JDS, who's white. That strikes you off of the team. So I don't know where we're going with this. He's brought to the forefront Black history and Blackness. He doesn't represent my Blackness. I'm all right with my Blackness. I don't need him repping my Blackness. Sorry.
All right. That's that was some deep stuff right there. And part of it, and if I had, if I and and I'm not saying that your points are not valid, except for the first one. The very first one was definitely a media creation about his costume being the
No, but
reason
he
why
said
he.
it well.
Okay. All right. I heard it. I heard you. Right. So I can go through the whole thing, but it's already been chronicled the context of which he was speaking and how he was taken out of context, and that's not what he was saying at all. But that's even beside the point. Nobody was even talking about Black history before that. So regardless of how you feel like he repped it, as it could be different from yours, different from you, um, nobody heard you talking about it or
Yeah,
Tyson Fury
they did.
talking about it.
Yeah, they
Right
did.
now, no, what I mean by nobody, I mean
Yeah,
the
they did.
masses of people around the world.
Yeah, they did. I never.
Listen. I've heard it. I've heard it.
Won't never. I never needed Deontay Wilder
I
to
didn't say that you did. I didn't say that you did, but
talk about it around the
I
world.
didn't say that you did. I said that nobody was talking about it. The masses of people around the world were not at all referencing Black History Month at all. As a matter of fact, a lot of people got the impression that him invoking it at all was racist, right? That he brought
In
racism
America,
into. No, I'm saying, listen. The internet is, it's a global thing. So you hear what people's impressions are, and you're somebody who lives in the States, so you understand that there's a culture here that doesn't necessarily get projected to everywhere else, and only in bits and pieces, and so it comes out of context, right? So all I'm saying is, when it came to that costume thing, he was asked a question as to why he may have felt different, and he was talking about a whole bunch of things about how he may have felt different. None of those things were him saying this is why I lost the fight, right?
he
So
said the
so that,
costume was
that
too
that's
heavy.
that's just one thing. But we're
Costume was too heavy, so it
but
wait
let me
for
go.
to have smoke.
I'm just listen. I'm gonna just go. That was
He
just
said
that
it.
particular thing. That's just
Mhm.
that.
He said it.
All
Anyway,
right, all right. Uh,
yeah.
let me agree with let me find another point that we agree on, just it
Is that
specifically
is
and then
that
generally, right?
mm,
So
oh,
for me, I think wearing costumes is stupid as whatever at the end of it. I don't like it at all. This is not wrestling. I didn't like when Michael Hunter had the Predator mask. I didn't like when guys were coming out with Wakanda thing. Like I'm not into that kind of thing. So to see him dressed in the manner that he was, with skull and crossbones and
I like
LED lights.
it. Well,
All right, so in the beginning, I thought it was ridiculous, right? So
it was
on the night, I was live on air while he was doing his ring walk. So I
mm,
thought the entire thing was absurd, right? So
mm,
anyway, but it was a cool, like the craftsmanship and all that, great. The fact that he was taken out of context, is once the cat's out of the bag, you can't put that thing back in there, right? It's going to be very hard to put it back in. So I understand where you're coming from. I'm just telling you that there's other reports out there that you may not have been aware of, and you can take them or not take them. But why cherry pick information, right? Let's not be biased because you don't like the fact that
No,
he because you don't like.
now.
Let me just finish. Let's not have, because I feel like there's some halo effect going on. I feel like you're saying because you don't like the way that he's represented, that means he hasn't accomplished anything in the ring, right? So there's at least that thing going on that I think is a really interesting leap. But I also feel you when it comes to the if you're going to talk about being 360 degrees all the way down representative of the black struggle, what's going on with that manager, right? So that's for him to explain, not me, because I don't know.
No. It's for
Right?
you to explain because you've jumped on it. You've
No,
jumped
no,
on
no.
it.
Because
You
okay,
can't
okay, cool. So
when
so
you're
I
going
can
to
I can
explain
explain
when
my
we're not
words
going
then.
to explain. So you're going to
Cool.
explain
Cool. I
everything
can
you're
I can, I
saying.
can explain my words, but without having to explain his actions, right? So I can say what I'm talking about, why I said what I was talking about, right?
Yeah, because
Because
right
for
now you're
me,
the
I,
wild
I, I feel like
representative.
I feel like there's a zero sum game. Like if he is not all the way down and representing in the way that everybody wants him to, that means he hasn't represented at all.
He's
And
a
and that, and let me just tell you, like none of us are perfect. Like I represent the way I represent. He represents the way he represents,
as a
and and
different.
and
Yeah,
and
you represent.
and
Yeah,
and
yeah,
and
yeah.
and we're gonna have to take the consequences for the way that we behave when we put ourselves out there as self-identifying as part of any kind of group,
That's
right?
right.
That's what it is. He's come out and said unapologetically that he is the descendant of American slaves. That's what he
Oh,
comes
we
anywhere.
never knew
That's what
that.
he said. He talks about going to slave museums. He talks about his people. So for me, um, I don't think that he's the only one, right? But I'm noticing that he is one, and that's it. That's it. It's not that deep for me. I'm just, I appreciate it. I appreciate that. Like for me, there's some definite what questions I have when it comes
What
to
are those
what's going on
questions?
with his management, right?
Go on. What are those questions? When
Um,
where does he falter in
well, okay, so
your
so when it comes to
in
this,
your
okay, so,
pride,
all right,
where
so
you guys light candles every day with his pictures right in front of you in your front room in the family room? Go on, Go on. Let's see.
my family room? Are you
Yeah, you
talking
know in the
my
family room.
my family room? You think
You know,
Deontay Waters in my family room? Is that
yeah,
what
yeah,
you're
yeah,
doing
yeah.
right now? That's what
Yeah,
you're doing
you're
right
right.
now? Okay, cool. All right,
Yeah.
all right, cool, cool. What I'm thinking is in this rematch, I definitely love Tyson Fury's upgrading his corner. Like they having Javon Sugar Hill in there, an X's and O's guy, I think was instrumental. And even on the night, if you look at the instruction from one corner, what was going on in one corner versus what was going on in the other corner, it was like night and day. So he needs to get rid of that slapstick mob, like whatever that was. And I'm not going to cast any aspersions on those guys, but he definitely needs to upgrade his camp. I don't know what Malik Scott is capable of. Maybe he can bring out something that, that we don't expect. But I think it's definitely a hard, but it's a hard task to get somebody who is going to be as technically proficient and understanding the science and how to make adjustments in a fight than Sugar Hill.
Mhm.
So, right. So I think the entire eyes of the world will be on gloves and all that stuff, but the idea that JD's is going to be your boxing mind, I don't think that's going to cut it. I don't think that's going to cut it at all. So yeah. So, but
Yeah.
as far as the drama that went on in between those guys,
Mm-hmm.
i- you know, I have friends that I've known for decades, right? That split up, and I don't get involved in their stuff. So guys who I don't know, or people who I don't know, and their personal drama, I don't speak on because I don't know what goes on between that. I feel like it could have been handled any number of ways, and on the outside looking in, it should have been handled differently. But that's a judgment from ignorance, really, when it comes right down to it. And I let people do whatever, make their own mistakes, and have their own redemption stories when it comes to the way that
Mm-hmm.
they interact with each other. But none of that has anything to do with what my man said, and where I agree with him is what he's accomplished in the ring. Like that, like forget the whole character thing of it. Like that's cool. We can, these public figures, they put themselves out there for us to slice and dice their character up and their personalities. But at the end of the day, beyond all the stakes and all this stuff, it's about the fights for me. And
And he
this
doesn't
dude,
fight you. I'm
this
going
dude,
to address some.
this
Let
dude
me
is taking
address
them and
some
giving them.
points.
When it
Yeah,
comes to them lumps, he's
let me
taking them and
address
giving
some points first, Smoke, with
them. Yeah,
what,
go ahead.
and then
Go ahead.
we'll get on to like the fights
Yeah,
and stuff of what
yeah,
he's
go ahead.
about. Okay, so for once, he's got one of the most. And I don't want any interjections. For once, he's got one of the most deluded fan bases in the whole history of the sport of boxing. Facts. So if we're going to talk about us going through the black struggle and us having racism against us and prejudicism, is that a word? Prejudice? No, is it prejudice?
Prejudice. Yeah.
Yeah.
Prejudice. Just word. Yeah. Just straight up.
I always keep making up words on there. But,
No, it's all good. We're good. Yeah, you're in the flow.
Why is it that he thought it was okay to degrade a whole culture of gypsies, but yet going through the black struggle, knowing what it was like when people called us names and stuff like that, he thought it was okay for him to talk down on a culture of people that he knows nothing about. You don't really have that sort of gypsy in the States. You guys have Romany gypsies, but he's not from the Romany lineage. So I don't understand where that. I thought that was a big line of hypocrisy to the highest. I thought it was disgusting. Why I thought it was disgusting that he turned this whole fight into a race war with black versus white, whereas here boxing is a British staple sport which has been going on for over 100 years. We don't really do a lot of things happen in England where we go through the black struggle, but within our sport of boxing, my man, we don't really do this black boxer be white boxer, and we're going to pick the black boxer because I'm black, and they're going to pick that. Not saying it doesn't happen, but as a whole, we've only noticed this more and more as the Tyson Fury and the Deontay Wilder, because he's brought that to the forefront. That's very damning and very destructive to the sport, I feel. So that defames his whole legacy, in my opinion. Then I wanted to ask you a question, but there was just one thing before I asked you this question. The difference between us and Americans is that, when things are going wrong, you guys love to air all your business out in public. Whereas us, we're a bit more private, we're a bit more reserved. So when things were being spewed out, it didn't even matter if it was by Deontay Wilder himself, but his fan base was quite happy to say the most weirdest, randomest, silliest things because that's what they go for. Whereas us, we're just a bit more reserved and we're just not really, we may say our wild shit like to our homies at home, but we're not really going to go on every public forum and bully people with weirdest things.
But to their credit, Deontay Wilder has come out and kind of co-signed everything that most of their claims.
He co-signed everything.
So then therefore they were speaking his truth, weren't they? They were speaking his point. They were representing what he was telling them, and they just got to speak on it first. So it's because I was surprised, but about some of the things they were saying. But then when Deontay Wilder was saying it, I'm like, well, there you go. You get what I mean? If Wilder feels it himself, then that kind of gives them a lot more credibility, rights, acceptance to speak on their channels.
Yeah.
Okay. So all right. So I was completely confused. I'm glad that you just said what you said, because now that clarified what you guys are saying when you say his delusional fan base. What you're actually talking about is a couple of YouTube channels, not his entire fan base. That's what you meant, right?
Fan base.
You said so his entire fan base, right? So and his entire fan, his entire fan base, right? And this is before the Fury rematch, or this entire time.
They've this entire time they've always been
right. So when he fought Bermain Stavern, he had delusional fans. When he fought Luis Ortiz, delusional fans. He always had the worst fan base. That is okay, because that's what I was because that's the way I was taking it, right?
Yeah, he has. He's always had the
right. So right. So
it just grows wilder and wilder.
Right.
With a
So I
pun.
am. Listen, as fans, you you don't need to be fans with the other fans of boxers. You don't even need to be fans of boxers. But if a fan base rubs you the wrong way, then that's cool. I've met some. We have football here. You guys call it gridiron, I guess. And there's the Dallas Cowboys, right? So every year these guys are going to win the Super Bowl. They have not made the play like they made the playoff once in like 20 years or something. Like delusional fan bases to me are fan bases that have some unreal expectation, right? So, just a guy supporting a guy past what you think is what morally bad,
What thing
morally
to-
incorrect answer or morally
Mm,
incorrect behavior. I
mm,
don't think that has any. I mean, cool, like that's your personal preference, but I don't think
mm.
it's on the fan bases to really give a damn. Really, like that's cool. You got your opinion; they can have theirs, right? And you can support who you want for whatever reasons you support them,
Yeah.
and that's your prerogative. It's not. There's no committee of how you should support a guy when it, as long as you're not like breaking the law and hurting
Is he
anybody
not
else.
prejudiced against
But
gypsies then?
but to go back to the cultural differences, right? There's a lot of cultural differences. I think that's I think being overlooked, right? So the not just not just the racism aspect of it, but the where it happened and how it happened. I don't know to the extent that racism was actually, I mean, that slavery was actually practiced in England, right? But to the extent, I know that it was nowhere near the level that it was actually practiced in the United States, and also the legacy
Why did
of
you
that,
live here?
and the legacy
Why
of
did
that.
you live here? Did you live here at any point to know that it was never like that here?
Yeah, I did. I did live there, but I
In what
mean,
way that we didn't suffer the
no,
massive
I said,
racism?
I said that there wasn't that slavery wasn't practiced in
Oh,
England,
mm,
right? That's what I was saying. Not that
yeah.
racism, but
Oh,
slavery,
yeah. Yeah.
slavery itself, right? And then also and then the effects of that. So a lot of the stuff that he was actually speaking about was had to do, and what I mean by and England has a very long history, I'm not going to go
Yeah.
into
Yeah.
it's
Let's
different
not go into
forms,
that
it's
one.
different forms and all kinds of things. But I'm just saying the way that it was practiced amounted to a group of people and him belonging to that group of people, right? That's let me be very specific about what I mean, because I'm not talking about like what happened in Ireland or serfs or whatever, no, any of that stuff. I'm just talking about the idea, the what he was saying when he say talking about the American descendant slaves, right? The I believe the thing that started off this entire what you were describing as a race war,
Hmm.
or his what I was well, I think what you mean, what I think it would be closer to say what his words furthered a waste war, because I don't believe he started any kind of like whatever
Oh,
animosity
no.
happened, whatever
Okay.
problems happened,
Yeah.
whatever problems, tensions existed between these communities could not have been ignited by what he said, because what he was talking about specifically was about himself and not anybody else, right? And he was making, and it was so when like I was saying, I believe it
You
started when
you
he
had
said,
the
I
white
believe,
devil.
I believe it started when they got the $12.5 million offer, and he
Mhm.
called it a slave contract, right?
And
I
called
believe
Eddie
that's the
Hearn
thing
a
that started
white,
the whole.
and he called Eddie Hearn a white devil.
No, no. What he said? No, what he said. He didn't call him a white devil. That's a thing. He called him a snake, and he said that he was
Called him a
a
white
white man.
devil.
He said he was a white man milking another brother, right? Calling him the cash
Called him
cow.
a
He was
white
milking the cash
devil.
cow,
Come
right?
on. Yeah.
So right. So no, but really, he called it a slave contract. The white devil thing, like I said, I think that there's some of this stuff is out. Anyway, whatever.
Mm. So,
Whether he did or whether he didn't, they
no, we're gonna say what he did. We're not gonna just
Oh,
dismiss it.
okay, all right. So I mean,
No, we're
right.
gonna
So
say
let's
everything.
so then
Otherwise,
let's
we say
operate from the same.
nothing.
So if that's what we're gonna do, let's operate from the same point of facts. If we
Mhm.
like, let's bring the links out, right? If that's really what we're gonna do is have a strictly cognitive argument where we're gonna just make explicit statements, then I don't understand. I didn't hear him say that, and you're saying you did. You want to educate us all? Drop a link, or we can
Yeah,
just move
well,
on
yeah.
we can just move on to
Yeah,
this
I'll
other
have
thing,
to find the
right?
link.
Right.
But cool. Yeah.
So Deontay Wilder calling Eddie Hearn a white devil
Mm.
is not starting a race war. That is him having a contract dispute
Good.
and him making a personal
So
observation
that
about
makes all
that
right to
guy,
say that
right?
then.
So if to you that means starting a race war. That is another cultural difference between the United States and the UK. Because if Deontay Wilder said that about Bob Arum, it would not spark a race war. Not at all. If he said it about it, like any, if he said it about who else there? I guess there's really not another prominent guy. Like if he said it about Lou Duva back in the day, it would not spark the race war. That's not; those are not words that spark race wars.
They're
Those are
inciting.
in the United
In
States. In the United States, right?
They're
So
inciting fuckeries. You know what I mean? He's participating in
okay,
fuckeries.
all right.
So
He's
he's
participating in fuckery. Oh,
participating
okay.
in
So
fuckeries.
okay,
Yeah,
so okay,
straight up.
or he's describing his experience as a guy who is trying to screw him over in a contract and make him take less than he deserves. So maybe even if he called him a white devil, is because Eddie Hearn was acting white devilish.
It's unacceptable. Unacceptable. We don't.
I mean, unacceptable to what?
Unacceptable.
Okay, all right.
Unacceptable. We
All right.
don't fuck with.
So here's
We
the thing.
don't
Here's the
fuck with
thing.
that.
Here's the deal. Here's the deal. If you don't want to be called a white devil, don't behave like a white devil. How about that?
Well, then if you don't want to, if you don't want to act, if you don't want to be called the fucking biggest loser in the whole of boxing history, how about not acting like the fucking biggest loser in the whole entire of boxing history?
Well, my point. Okay, that's cool. But how does that start a race war, though?
Goes both ways.
I'm saying, but how does that start a race war? Like
He's
we
a
went from
dickhead.
loser to loser because when he said that, Deontay Wilder was undefeated, right? So I think we're
Was.
skipping over topics, right?
We're skipping over topics. Stop living in the past, Smoke.
No, what you don't live in the,
Let's
you
bring
said
it
he
to
started a race war.
2021. He's a loser now.
I'm trying. Listen, you made a lot of points. I was trying to go through. I'm trying to go through what your points are.
No, you're not. You're trying to overtalk me.
Okay.
No, you're not. You're trying to overtalk me, and I'm not actually having it.
I'm overtalking you. Okay.
Usually I give you a lot of the time of day, but you're chatting shit, and I'm gonna have to be quite raw with you. And you haven't seen the side of me. Don't come on here and chat shit. We're gonna talk it how it is. You know I didn't say he created the race war, but he incited it. Yes, he did. He was the one that he fueled it, if you want me to use better words. He fueled it. He didn't have to fuel it. He didn't have to talk about you haven't come to the point where we're talking about the gypsies. The gypsies.
Okay, cool.
There's lots of audio and footage of him talking about that now, isn't there? Smoke.
I don't think that there is no. And no? Then also I believe in your okay, yeah, because what like you said in your when you were talking about it, mm-hmm. Like you said, like we were talking about it, we don't have gypsies here. Where's Deontay Wilder going to get this extensive history and understanding of gypsies? Like I don't think he's here's the thing. I don't think, say again.
He read it, obviously. He read it.
He learned it. You think Deontay Wilder is sitting around? He's not learning boxing. He's learning gypsy. That's what you think he's doing with his life. Is sitting around reading up on the history of gypsies to find out how to insult them.
Smoke. He said it. He said it.
Said what? Okay, what did he say, ladies and gentlemen?
Let's go through this. What did he say?
All right.
Let me speak. Otherwise, I'm going to have to mute you, and I don't want to have to do that.
Okay.
He said the gypsies are a race of people that are known for what was the word, Leon? Known for not being honest. Dishonest
people. If you don't cheat,
dishonest people.
That's damn. That's it. So that's indefensible. Right. That's indefensible. But all right. So
you're muted 1 second because you're not listening. So they're dishonest people, yeah. And he said that is the reason why he knows that Tyson Fury cheated, because he comes from a race of people or a culture of people that are dishonest.
Okay. So
I think you last said, get the smoke, that would be indefensible, that comment.
Yeah. I'm saying if Deontay Wilder said that is an indefensible comment. What that has to do about whether or not he is a black guy, I don't like, or is all right. So
just say you don't know.
I think we're conflating ideas. Can a black guy say something that is completely indefensible and reprehensible? Sure, he can. Can he do that and still be repping his people? Sure, he can. Like I think that if you want to if you want to denigrate Deontay Wilder's character, I think he's given anyone ammunition to do so. Right? But it depends on what your own moral compass is, right? And what you think how you think people should be behaving. and that's fine. We all have our own thing, but that is I think again a little bit what tangential to what he's done inside the ring. Like whether or not you like the man or you like the man's fans, that's cool. You don't have to like the man or the man's fans. What does that have to do with what the entertainment that he gives us from the fights?
And that's where I stand. I enjoy, well, the fights. I can't think, the Luis Ortiz, particularly the first one. I thought that was a great bout. I really enjoyed the second Fury fight as well. I can't say that he doesn't bring excitement. His fights don't produce a lot of excitement, and I am glad that I can separate the kind of fans and the distasteful things he says from his actual performances in the ring and what he's actually achieved. And I understand that he's upset a lot of people, and his fans have got into it with a lot of people, and it makes them see what he does differently. But I can't ignore his achievements. I just can't.
We're just talking about heavyweights. We're talking about heavyweights. We're talking about the heavyweights. We're talking about the heavyweight division. He is a bone of contention. He is a thorn in everybody's side. He is a walking contradiction. Or sometimes he's not even walking. He just gets his head and face bounced off the canvas like a lot. So sometimes he's not even walking. Let's be fair. He's deluded. His fan base is deluded. He's prejudiced. He's a hypocrite. He's contradictory. He's rude. He's disgusting. He's disrespectful. He stands for nothing that a lot of people that are from the good people, whether they're black, white, Asian, whatever, we don't stand for it. We don't.
There are.
But he does stand for it. But there's not
character traits. He does
have stands for nothing.
Yeah, exactly. Like I got it. See, here's
the way he
thing.
talks about his
There's also
family.
good people. There's also good people. There's also good people. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Go on. Sorry. Go smoke.
No, on top of it. I'm all there on top of it. I don't want you to mute me again.
No, I said, and on top of it, he's not even a great fighter. How dare you be all these things and be rubbish? Get out of town. Bye, Wilder.
So, which heavyweight hasn't had their head bounced off the canvas? Which of the top guys?
Not like Wilder.
Yeah, all of them, right? So all of them.
Yeah.
So Wilder's not
you
a professional company right there. So all of them been off their feet. All of them got knocked off their feet at this point, right? So, and as a matter of fact, Wilder is responsible for a lot of guys being knocked off their feet. Right. So if we're talking about characters, right? If we're gonna pick through the characters,
let's talk about resume.
Right.
Let's talk about resume.
No, I mean, why pivot, right? Like, why not?
You said he's knocked a lot of people out. So, like, he's knocked out a lot of bums. Yeah, he has. Go on.
Well, I mean, I guess it depends on what you call it. Here's the thing. Here's the deal.
Ortiz is great. Okay. All right.
Well, I mean, I think Fury's great. I think Fury's great. I think Fury's great. He told, he said, I got
Fury.
Fury said himself, I was knocked out. Yeah, he bounced Fury's head off the camera too. Yeah, him too.
And guess what?
Guess what happened? Talk about, but yeah, Fury too.
Guess what happened?
Okay, I know that happens, right? That happens. I'm just saying that Deontay Wilder is not an example of getting dropped in the heavyweight division or getting stopped in the heavyweight division. That happens in boxing. Like, as a matter of fact, there's only one heavyweight that hasn't had that happen to them in the history. Well, at least when it comes to the result. Muhammad Ali never got dropped either. I mean, I never got stopped, but he get dropped too. The guys get dropped. Guys get, it happens. It happens.
But
all I'm saying is, if you want to delve into the character of these fighters,
we're just covering
for me, I wouldn't be able to actually appreciate the sport because none of them are my heroes. I just appreciate
is your hero.
What I appreciate is where if you had the Venn diagram where we have sort of overlapping interests. Like, I don't have an interest for example, to give birth, right? But that's one of his interests. So I don't need to decastigate the guy because he wants to give birth. but I also don't need to. I don't need to. I don't need to support it, and I don't need to castigate it. All I need to understand is that that's not one of my interests, right? But one of my interests is to be entertained by the sport of boxing,
And
and to
see a
that
knockout.
to that extent, this guy is the most exciting heavyweight to the point that the only exciting fight I've ever seen Tyson Fury be part of is with Deontay Wilder twice. But anyway, that's just my own personal preference. I appreciate skills really over knockout ability when it comes right down to it. If you're going to go through my like sort of my meta principles about boxing, but when it comes right down to it, I appreciate the guy for what he is for the what is it? The positive things for the overlapping self interests that I have that he's actually been able to provide, and that's it. Like for the rest of the stuff, I live it up to him and being an imperfect guy. I'm 50, he's 34. Like if you want to
He's
chart, if you wanted to,
35.
if you wanted to, if you
I
wanted to.
need to know who your king, your king's age.
Hey, listen, all of my listen. I called you queen, right? This is King's art. Like
Yeah,
there's a difference about yeah, and I'm his, and he's my, and I'm his king, right? But, like let's get it right. Let's get it right. Right? Let's get this. Let's keep it all the way funky, right? Because I get it. I get where you're going with it, but I'm trying to just reel it back because if we're talking about heavyweights and we're talking about boxing, then Wilder is he's in the firmament. He's not some passing comment. Right now, he is one of the established planets that is making the universe spin. So, I mean, you can be mad at the universe, but that's what it is.
He's making your universe spin. That's it.
Okay,
That's
all
fine.
right, cool. So
And
why is
that's
Tyson
fine.
Fury the man then?
And that's fine. If he makes
Why
your,
is Tyson Fury the man?
and if he's your king,
I didn't bring up Deontay Wilder.
if he, no, but
I didn't bring up any of this stuff
we're
about
talking
Deontay Wilder.
heavy,
We was talking about heavyweight boxing.
obviously he's always in the news for stupidity. It's never because he's fighting. Let's tell the truth. So we're just reporting stuff and talking about he's one of the current heavyweights. Well, he was soon to be non-existent, as we can clearly see the route that he's taking. He's going on to fight Prince Charles. I mean, it's not really. He was the WBC champ, and then now you've got your head bounced off the canvas, sent out all of these big conspiracy theories that everybody's Bayless to Jay.
There's nothing of a Charles Martin fight coming off of a loss like that.
There is.
Yeah, no, I get it. Lady Chann's a huge Wilder fan. I'm picking it up.
Yeah, no, there is. But we've got Sammy, speak. Welcome.
Yo, Lady Chann, what's going on, man?
Tell me, what's happening? What do you like to say?
Yeah, I was gonna say that. So
we got Tunde, by the way. He's in bed watching. Yes, T.
Yo, Tunde, man. Yeah, so the way that I like to see the heavyweights.
You need to sound a bit louder, babe.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
So the way that I like to categorize the heavyweights.
No, you're low now.
Wait, you can't hear me?
Yeah, that's perfect.
Good.
Yeah, so the way that I like to categorize the heavyweights is in 3 levels. So you have your elite heavyweights, which is like your AJ, your Tyson Fury, your Dylan White, your Povetkin. Then you have your top level heavyweights, which is like your Wilder, your Ruiz, like your Charles Martins. And then you have your prospects. So they're up and coming heavyweights. So you have Dubois, Fabio Woodley, and boxers like that. But I can see why they would say Wilder's in the top 3, because if you look at the top 10 heavyweights, Wilder has actually defeated Luis Ortiz.
Yeah.
Who is in the top 10.
Yeah.
And he's also fought Tyson Fury, who's the top heavyweight in the world. And he's achieved a draw, which is still not a win, but he's had 2 great wars with Tyson Fury. So I can see why they would say that.
Yeah. But that's why I said I can get it kind of like that. All right, I get it.
But what I don't understand here is there's a lot of US fans that jump on this hype train of Wilder's this, Wilder's that. But it's you need to sort of conceive your own views and formulate your own opinion on how you feel towards a boxer. You can't just go off what other people say. Wilder, for instance, he's judging other communities and other races in a way that he wouldn't like to be judged.
You need to come closer to your mic. We're struggling to hear you.
Yeah, so like Martin Luther King and all of these like significant people in Black history fought for equality within the Black community. They didn't fight to have power over other ethnicities.
Thank
If
you.
that makes sense.
Yep.
So we need to embrace everyone for who they are and treat people the way that we expect to be treated. If that makes sense.
Yes, it does. Perfect sense. And do you think that Wilder represents this? Do you think he represents equality, or do you think he represents segregation?
So obviously, I don't know Wilder on a personal level to judge him, but from what I've seen, I feel like Wilder, like everyone, is quite hot-headed, and he can make some comments that are quite derogative, and that would offend a lot of people.
Mm-hmm.
But it's not just him, because if you see like Tyson Fury and other boxers, they all tend to make these mistakes. So we've got to be a bit open-minded and see. You know, we can't just judge people based on one thing.
And I think we also need to. Sorry, Sam. Sorry, Sammy. I think we also need to appreciate that it's the guy's first loss, and he had been telling himself that he said he was in some almost drowning accident. He almost drowned when he was younger, and his grandmother told him that he's been ordained to do something special, and he genuinely believed that. And I just think he's taken his loss really bad, which is why we're getting some of the things that he's come out after taking a loss.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, we have to put some of this into some kind of context. I mean, he was an undefeated heavyweight champion, and that not everybody takes that first loss very well at all. I was surprised that he waited so long, and then still came out with the stuff. But if it's what he believes, I believe he should speak his truth, you know, and stand by it and give him his credit. That's what he done. He hasn't just hidden behind.
Oh, Leon, fight fan figures. Let's just bring you right back down to fucking planet Earth. No.
Measured and reasonable.
Listen. There's taken a loss badly, and there's delusions of mass grandeur.
Yeah, like
and right now we're in delusions of mass grandeur.
What's deluded about 5-year reign as a WBC heavyweight champ?
No, that's what
a bit of
accolades. Well, that's not the deluded part. How he's taken this loss is where we've gone into the twilight zone here.
So I think that there's just a different, like, the only thing that solves what people's issue is with Deontay Wilder when it comes to the way he's handled this loss is the truth. Everyone feels like they know what the truth is, right? So that's cool. I think that if everybody knowing what their truth is should recognize that their truth is based on ignorance. All of it. Like everybody that was saying that they know is certainly what happened must admit to themselves that they actually don't know certainly what's happened, and that Wilder isn't doing any more to but speaking their truth to what he believes happened than everybody else who has an opinion about what happened.
I would have to disagree.
The thing about Wilder is he's a lot closer to the actual events.
Go on, Sammy.
I would have to disagree with that because I feel like the way that we portray ourselves, like, is also just as important as our feelings as well, because you can't just like judge. You can't just form like conclusions that have no backing. Like, he's been saying that his suit is the reason he lost the fight, and then he will jump to Mark Breland liking his like, what's the logic?
Well, right. So the logic isn't in the invalid. It's not invalid, right? So your form is valid, but it's actually the content that's not. He did not say that the suit is why he lost the fight. So that's the issue, right? And that's what you keep coming back to, this whole idea, right? So it's there's a series of bad information that is now drawing a conclusion that isn't supported by the premise, even though your conclusion might be correct. It may be the fact that when it comes right down to it, what the way that Wilder behaves is not in a manner that you want people to behave. So it actually doesn't matter what arguments you come up with, because the end result is you don't like the way the guy behaves.
Listen,
He's a
DTS,
fucking prick.
DTS.
That's it. He's a prick. And I may be being immature. I don't give a shit. That is not the way that any 35 going on 36-year-old is supposed to conduct their job. Nobody is supposed to, nobody's saying that he isn't supposed to take the loss hard or whatever. You know, everybody takes their losses as their losses. Like some people really internalize, like at this point, we want him just to internalize shit and shut the fuck up and stop putting out these conspiracy theories. Smoke, it is ridiculous. And you said that you're 50 years old. It's ridiculous. The onslaught of what this geezer has said, the disrespect. The whole Varda State Commission was in on it. Kenny Good Bayliss was in on it. Mark Breland was in on it. Clearly, Tyson Fury with the loaded gloves was in on it.
Okay, so right, so I'm sorry, you say all of that. All right, so first off, let me ask you a question: Has the Nevada Athletic Commission ever caught anybody with tampering with their gloves ever in the history? All right, so great. So I don't know why.
But guess what?
I don't understand why that.
But guess what? What was that guy that was caught?
So that means they don't have to be in on it. They can just keep doing their crappy job, right? So let's just take.
So let me just counteract that to you. Let me just counteract. Whoa. So yeah, they could be doing their crappy job. But guess whose job it is for those types of things to be detected? The people on your team, i.e. Jay Diaz. Jay Diaz is there when the gloves are getting wrapped.
Correct. Right.
So if Tyson Fury did have loaded gloves, and yes, the Nevada State Commission, they're doing their shit job where they've just let it evade them. Why was Mark only Breland then? If Jay Diaz is in charge of watching the gloves get wrapped, why is he not fired? He's obviously negligent.
Okay, so for my reading of, and I am not in their camp. I am thinking that it's probably a straw that broke the camel's back and not the thing. And if you hear the guy speaking, I think it's more of a reaction to the fact that the towel got thrown in than it is about the other thing. Right? So
he still said Mark Breland spiked his water, but we'll give the benefit of the doubt that it was only solely to do with throwing in the towel. Cool. I'll give them that.
I don't know.
Even though that was bullshit.
It could be one thing is definitely something that he knows he did, and another thing is something that he suspects he did, and he's accusing him of doing it, and he's thinking that the guy is a snake, right? Because Mark Breland is a product of Crunk Gym, right? So it could be all things Crunk or his enemy. Right, and that could be what's informing this thing. And again, I'm on the outside.
Didn't he know that? Didn't he know that when Tyson Fury moved over to the Crunk Gym before the second fight, that it was all things Crunk then? So why didn't he sack Breland from them, saying, you know what, I don't trust you because Tyson Fury is now from the first fight to this fight, he's going to be doing all things Crunk now, and you are actually affiliated with the Crunk. Just in case, I don't really trust this little setup. So, Mark Breland, as mad as it seems to me, this makes sense to me. You're fired now.
I don't think he even contemplated losing to Fury.
I think that my own reading, his primary issue was the throwing in the towel. Not that he was part of Crunk Gym. Not that he was.
Yeah, but you just say because it was all thing Crunk. That's why you
like I said, I think the water. I think the water is a proposition that he is forming. Right? He's saying, "I believe that you did this." He's saying that I put it as knowledge that he did it, but the knowledge that he did it is really sounding like he just suspects that he did it. So for whatever reason that he suspects he did it is between those two guys. The firing of him seems to be centered around the throwing in of the towel. That seems to be the thing that he went the most.
Yeah, we've done with that. He still said he spiked his water.
He did say that. He did say. I'm not saying he didn't, right? And when it comes down to the overall way that people should conduct themselves in the public square, right? I think that is definitely something that if I was Mark Breland, I would be upset about. But I think that it seems to me that the people are more upset than Mark Breland is about him saying it. And it's not like he's accusing the people of spiking his water. He's accusing Mark Breland of doing it. And why is it our job to be more outraged about it than Mark Breland?
But once again, you're
Mark
kind of
Breland's outraged. He is outraged, but he's just quite guy. He already put out his little big up Karma Serene, big up. I'm glad there's a girl that comes through on the chats. Thanks for coming through. Lol, he took the loss hard, real hard. But go on, Sammy, go on.
Yeah,
this is turned into the Wilder show, and I didn't want to turn this into a Wilder show, but it's fine. Go ahead.
Once again, he's kind of like beating around the bush because he's saying like Mark Breland could have, would have, should have. But when you form like a judgment, you need to have justification. You need to have evidence. You need to like form it on a case by case scenario. You can't just say, I think Mark Breland did this. I think he or she did this, without no like backing. Because that's
right. So the thing is, you feel like he is not justified in making the statement that he's making to the public. And that's cool that you have that feeling. I'm not saying that you're not justified in feeling that way.
I don't
but
have that
Deontay
feeling.
Wilder's not. But Deontay Wilder is not beholden to your rules about how he should be behaving in the public sphere.
But he
all that speaks to is whether or not you are a fan of his behavior. That's it. It doesn't mean anything other than that. Like, that's cool. He may have just a deep gut feeling, and that is enough for him to go and throw that man under the bus in the public sphere. And that's for me. I wouldn't do that. I would behave differently, right? But at another point, if that is the way that you clear yourself, if you are Mark Breland, if you feel like you need to clear yourself, or if you feel like you've been harmed, there is a remedy for that in the public square. Mark Breland hasn't taken that option. He hasn't done anything about that. All he did is send a cryptic tweet that didn't confirm or deny, and made a bunch of appearances online where he didn't talk about it at all. Like, when somebody brought it up, he went on something else, and Mark Breland seems to be living his best life. He is not tripping off of it, right? So all of these people who seem to be outraged about Mark Breland's treatment, it seems to me that this is just one other straw that is loaded on the camel's back of Deontay Wilder's character. That's really what this is about, is an ongoing indictment of the man's character.
Still, we give us a lot of ammo to do so. Sorry.
You still haven't justified anything. Like,
It's not my job to justify anything.
Well, it clearly is.
It really is not.
I hope you're getting paid a lot of money.
Okay, you're trying to make my job. You're trying to make my job.
I hope you're getting paid. You better be getting paid. You better be on the payroll. He better have sacked Breland and then hired you.
Okay, so are you on the payroll then? Are you on Eddie Murphy's payroll? Okay, so wait a minute. You are on the payroll.
Guess why I'm not on the payroll? Guess why I'm not on the payroll? Because my mother always told me to out fools for free.
Right. Okay. So here's what I do for free.
I do for free. Okay. Liars are paid. People that speak the truth like me, we do it for free. That's the code of ethics that I was raised by. So you better be getting a good paycheck for selling out like that.
I'm just following mom's advice, just like you.
Because you're selling out big time.
No, I'm here for you guys.
Yeah, I know, and I love it. I love it. And we need people like you on the show. We need it. And tomorrow there's no love lost, but we're gonna chop it up. Well, this is how intense we get. Me and you are on other channels where we're on other channels, Smoke, and me and you are against the others. And then we're on other channels where you say something and you're against me. It's always been that way. I hold my own. I don't give a shit. But what I'm saying is there's no love lost, but you're selling it. You're selling it, mate. I just hope for this you're getting paid very, very handsomely.
Yeah, no. So here's the thing.
You're getting paid as handsome as you are.
Look at now I'm blushing. All right, so hold up. All you're saying is what I agree. Is that we both keep it 100 when it comes to what it is how we feel about a situation, the way we see it, right? Sometimes it may reveal some biases. Sometimes it may sometimes not, right? I feel like I try to be as rational as possible because for me, as I keep saying, I don't even go to character judgments when it comes to these guys, but because I don't know them well enough, right? So then it becomes to me a really an academic exercise as to how people should behave in the public square, and that's cool. We can have those kinds of arguments and those kinds of differences, but when it comes down to it like that, we start to get a really far afield from the fact that these guys get punched in the face for a living. Right, like I'm not going to be voting for Deontay Wilder for president, just so you know.
You
Like
sure?
But there comes a difference when you,
if there's a humanitarian award, I don't. It's not Deontay Wilder is not on my top 10 finalists, right? So this whole idea that I'm selling something, what you guys are selling is some
you guys are
character
too good, man,
assassination that is
at
justified.
selling stuff.
Cool. If you want to justify if you want to assassinate any public figure's character, you are perfectly willing and able to do. I mean, you're perfectly well within your rights to do so because
Thank you.
that's what they put themselves out there for. That's part of what their job description is, right? So knock away. But at the same time, don't act like when I'm pointing it out is because I'm somehow defending Deontay Wilder. But at any point, for me, have at him. Have at him. That's what
Yeah,
he's
but
there
you're
for.
forming.
All right.
You're
What I like,
Will you let
again,
Tommy
I'm going to
talk?
refocus this. I'm going to re-anchor this in the heavyweight division and boxing, and in not and my own personal self-interest, which is entertaining fights at the end of the day, which is what this man provides for me.
You're
Right?
dead.
But you're making opinions, yeah, based on like emotions.
Okay.
We're speculating based on what we have. We're using the information that we have, and we're formulating various like things that
No,
could be
I think
possible.
Smoke is basing his opinion based on he's considered thoughts of what's happened as well. I don't think he's
Yeah, I'm
he's
using the
speaking from
cognitive
an emotional
process.
perspective. Yeah,
All
I don't
right,
think he's speaking from emotion.
All right, but can we answer Karma what Shireen? Because I share the same sentiment of what she's saying. Like, you can't accuse someone of criminal activity. That's slander and libel, and it's illegal. And it's not about Wilder's feelings.
Clearly you can, and it's not. Clearly you can, and it's on the person who feels like they have their rights have been infringed on to actually to defend that, right? Because it seems like what Breland is saying is either at one hand, you may be right, or on the other hand, I actually don't care. So it's not as though Deontay Wilder has accused the public. So the public seems to be, but the public outcry should be, why isn't Mark Breland defending the rights of every single person in the public sphere?
Okay, then I'll speculate then. So I'll say that Mark Breland doesn't want to embarrass Deontay Wilder by coming out.
Right.
So I'm
Because he could
speculating.
have done him.
I can say that.
I think he's
taken.
he's definitely taken the moral high ground.
He could done him. He could done him. He could done him. Let's have it right. Mark Breland's probably got more class in his little finger than Deontay Wilder clearly possesses in his whole entire 6'4" frame, 213 pounds. Let's have it right. Yeah, so maybe Mark Breland has got grace, has been blessed with etiquette and decorum, has been raised well, and just thought, you know what? What's done in the dark will come to light. You're a disgusting human being for how you've treated me. But I'm not going to stoop to the same level as you and desecrate your whole lineage because you're doing that in one foul swoop yourself.
But he hasn't had to really, has he? Because of the public reaction to what happened to him. The public's generally been
right. So that none of that answered my question, right? So what it seems, if what I'm hearing is correct, if you are answering my question, what you're saying is he is more beholden to himself and some moral high ground and the way that he was raised than it is to defend what the public discourse should be. So there's something that is actually more important than what it is we're even talking about. Whether or not somebody should go into the public sphere and lob baseless accusations toward the person. Apparently, the person is like, I have more self-interest involved in this thing. I don't actually get there. So this is not a priority. This is not a priority for me. And everybody shrugs at it, right? So you shrug at that. So then what actually is the offense? If there's all these things with this, if the priority isn't
in itself.
But now the question, but the issue is, are you correct in your assessment that he actually has no evidence?
You said we're just going by assumption, so we just dived in now.
Right. That's what I'm saying. Right. So you said the gentleman Saddam. I think you said Saddam. Is that your name?
Sami Ali.
Yeah.
Sammy.
Yeah.
Sami Ali. No, Smoke. His name's Sami Ali.
Yeah, my name's Sammy.
Smoke?
Oh, he's gone, man.
Smoke, where are you? No, he's still there. Smoke, where you go? Oh, he's muted. Maybe he's doing something.
Okay, no. Okay, sorry.
Oh, okay.
I thought I saw it. Hey, what's up, Sami Ali? Hey,
Yeah.
what's up, bro? So
and
Sami
also, what you
intimated.
have,
Sami intimated that I was coming off of my emotions, right? And I am saying to you that I'm going by what is the empirical evidence, and then also what I don't know, right? So the empirical evidence is he outed that he charged this guy with doing some illegal and immoral acts, right? And didn't provide the evidence to
Okay,
me,
but I
right?
can say that.
So let me finish, and didn't provide the evidence to me, right? So I can say that for me, I I have a beef with you because now you're asking me to distrust this other guy based on your word, right? So I understand that how fans could be put off by that and be demanding more information, right? I totally get that, right? So if we and I concede that that is an issue that fans would rightly and justifiably have with this guy.
But I can say
yeah.
that you see Mark Breland, yeah. Realistically, if he wanted to get more like media coverage and like try and sue Wilder for his own means, he could come out and he can nail Wilder. He can say, "What is this guy trying to put on my name? What kind of bullshit is he putting on my name?" But he chooses not to do that. So I don't understand how we can say that Mark Breland has any involvement in terms of any
The corruption that he's
yeah,
accused of.
exactly. Because surely he would benefit from coming out on the media and embarrassing Wilder, if that makes sense.
So that just shows what type of person he is. Or you could also take it, if you're going to play devil's advocate, that he's guilty and he's just got away with it, so he's just said nothing.
Yeah, exactly.
The only thing he's guilty of is that he wasn't supposed to throw in the towel, but look, the dude's head was getting bounced off the canvas, and he did what he thought was right. Let's just have it right.
Yeah, right. So, and there's a deal. There's a deal. Like, so if you know it's a fireable offense, then really, what are we talking about? Like, so, and I get it's a morass of issues because of all of the things that have come out. But as far as the firing goes, it's my reading, as I said a bunch, that they signed waivers saying that there would be no throwing in a towel, regardless of the
Go
circumstance.
out of my shield.
Right.
Sorry.
Exactly. Right. So the fact that he is paying this dude with the expectation that in that circumstance he is not going to throw in the towel, and that's basically what he's paying him to not do. Mark Breland made a choice that he said that actually I can't fulfill that responsibility. I'm going to throw in the towel and now to me should accept the consequences of that decision. Do I want to see a snuff film? No, I don't. I'd like to see an athletic competition. I don't need to see Deontay Wilder, Patrick Day, anybody, Dillian White, name the fighter, AJ, Tyson Fury, all these dudes. I
Remember
want
when
them to be.
AJ lost to Ruiz?
Say again.
Do you remember when AJ lost to Ruiz and
Yeah,
then
the lucky punch from the gods.
yeah, the lucky punch from the god.
Yeah, I remember that. I remember that one. Yeah. I remember it vividly. What's going on?
It cut to Wilder laughing hysterically, and then when AJ lost, I'm just talking about when AJ lost. He didn't use when the AJ fanboys and fangirls were coming out with the reason why he lost this and the reason why he lost that. Remember, AJ just kind of put it to bed. He just went on his media, went on his social media, went, look, don't make any excuses for me. I lost, the better man won, and that is that. All we're asking is we don't understand, like, can you see the clear difference of like, your king is here? Like, get out of town, mate. Like, you're just a bad loser. Kings don't lose badly. If you was a true king, you're acting like a fool. But anyway.
Okay, so I think you're being liberal with the term king, right? So when we're talking about kings and queens, we're actually talking about our ancestry. We're not actually talking about a literal monarch, right? Well, then why did
and the reason? Look, I do know. I'm still black. I know what the king and queen.
So then what are we doing then? Why do you keep saying this?
I have an ancient Egyptian.
I got you. So I know that you know. So why are you doing this?
So what I'm saying is, I'm going to spin the narrative of where
Okay, that's what we're doing. Okay.
Yeah, because you know why? Because he spun it. Because obviously, if he's talking about kings and queens and his king is here, and he's not talking about it in the monarchy terms, why did he then call Dillian White a peasant and kings only chase kings? Because in monarchy, in the monarchy, remember, we live in a country where we have monarchy. We're the peasants, by the way. We're the peasants, and anybody that is of royal lineage or aristocracy, we're peasants. So he called Dillian White a peasant. So that means he's showing that he's a king within the sense of a monarchy. I'm just showing you how much he contradicts himself.
No, he does.
I think he was objecting to Eddie Hearn putting Dillian White ahead of him.
Listen, do I think Deontay Wilder has grasped the nuances of the English language? Come on, man! Like, what are we doing? Like, why are we doing this? Why are we like the guy? I mean, okay. If he was,
you have to let me land.
So here's where Deontay Wilder is brilliant inside the ring. Like all of the stuff that you're talking about is not inside the ring. And
I know that's the shame of it.
I don't understand. Like, is the man running for some sort of office? What are we? Why are we so focused on his character? Is he running for a championship? Is he running for heavyweight champion of the world? Or is he fighting for a heavyweight champion of the world?
We've never faced a boxer that is so massively outrageous.
Oh, really? Oh, do you think Muhammad Ali? What did you think Muhammad Ali was? What do you think Muhammad Ali was?
Outrageous. But furthermore, I weren't alive them day there, so really I have to take myself out. I can just go by what I can Google and what I can see and what my dad and my stepdad could tell me. But like, you know, I'm a bit way younger than that, so I weren't about. So in my era, and that spans, and that even spans in your era, but maybe not, because you're saying Muhammad Ali was more outrageous. I've never seen such an outrageous sportsman in any sport than with all of this controversy in my life than what Deontay Wilder has brought. And it's a shame because it's diminished what he's doing and what he's done in the ring, because this is so crazy. You have to admit it, Smoke. Stop being in denial. This story is mad.
The story wasn't okay. All right. So now you're strawmanning me. Now you're creating arguments I never made and attributing them to me. Like, okay, that's cool. Do you mean me to say that the story is mad? I believe you mean crazy. And yes, it is definitely crazy, right? But that doesn't mean that the truth isn't crazy sometimes, right? Like, I understand that even in my own opinion, I don't know what the truth is. You guys seem to be interested in conversion. Like, I don't understand. Like, are we okay? So is this a conversation about exchanging opinions? Or are we trying to stamp out heresy? Because I'm not. I don't pray at the altar that you pray at. I'm just letting you know. And it doesn't mean that I'm paid informant for somebody. It doesn't mean anything other than when it comes to
my altar's good. It's got a Jesus that looks like me, because that's what it would really have been back in the times. Right. You know, so my altar's quite good. It's not a picture of like a 6'4" failed basketball player, failed boxer. Like, I just tried. Sorry, my altar's mad good. I'm all right with my altar.
Interesting. A failed boxer. Okay, so a guy who walks into a boxing gym at 20 years old in order to provide medicine for his spina bifida daughter, rises to the level of rising to the level of a Hall of Fame boxing career, amassing tens of millions of dollars along the way, is a failure in your estimation.
Yeah, because in one foul swoop, he fucked it all up. Your whole legacy.
Okay. You do know that no matter what he did, that's not going to go away.
His daughter. So you're supposed to be doing things that none of your kids, when they Google you, when they're at a Googleable age where they can go on the internet, maybe some are already, you don't want that. This is the first thing that comes up about their dad.
Heavyweight champion.
The legacy is ruined. Don't you understand his legacy? He is a mockery. He's a mockery.
Hey, Lady Chann, do you think that your kids are going to have a different opinion of you because of what they Google about you?
No, you know what? My kids.
Hey, come on now. Stop playing. Stop playing. Like, what are we doing right now?
Let me land. You answer your question. You see this? This is me. I don't come on with this light camera action. See, when I do my music, it's me. Everybody knows it. Everybody, that's why people like me.
100%.
Like, and my kids know me. So when they see me on this, they just be like, that's our mum. She's no different anywhere.
Why do you think Deontay Wilder's kids will be different?
Because what? Does he say?
I really wouldn't be surprised if he did.
He's spinning a narrative so you're saying that the madness that he's spinning outside here, everybody taking his water, muscle relaxers. So what is that? Do they see that normally, like that he spins those crazy narratives at home then? Like sometimes he wakes up and his fiance, he feels a bit weak and he goes, oh, that costume that I wore like for Halloween, man, that fucked me up the other day, man. I shouldn't have wore it. Now I can't run around with the kids. And do you know what? I feel mad tired. I bet you've been putting some shit in my fucking suit. Like, it's over. So is that what we're going with here? So okay then.
I wouldn't be surprised if he genuinely believed it.
He's wild.
Chann, I wouldn't be surprised if he genuinely believed it. I would not be surprised. And if you genuinely believe something, why wouldn't you tell your children? I think if he believes it, why wouldn't he?
Yeah. No, I'm not saying that he. I'm not actually saying that he doesn't tell his children this, and that's like he's one of them people that I don't know him yet again, but we're speculating. I just have to speculate that he's run with this lie so bad, like to make himself look like a hero to his kids. Still, he has to justify why he lost, and he's taken this to the motherfucking grave. Yeah, so he's gonna do the lie all the way, and unfortunately, he's gonna lie to his children. Yeah.
So you think when he's like buying Ferraris, he's like Tyson Fury cheated. When he's holding his daughter, he's like Tyson Fury cheated. Like everything he does in life is now about. So when he was twerking, he was like, yeah, Tyson Fury cheated. Like I think at a certain point, the dude is just living his life, and everybody else is stuck on a moment in this guy's life. He may feel some kind of way about this fight. But even that twerking video was what was that? It was a leaked video of him with his family, right? What I'm saying to you is that man probably has a great time with his family and tells them whatever the hell. And I don't think that just like your kids, just like my kids, are going to be completely. I don't think that their opinion of us is going to change based on our public statements. I just don't. I don't see how that is. It seems like a bridge too far. Like if you can have kids. Anyway, I'm not even gonna go there. I'm just saying. I think that fans are passionate about this stuff, but it goes a little bit too far. Like this is kind of absurd at this point.
Definitely, you are passionate, man.
We're passionate.
Listen. Listen. If you're gonna start saying that Deontay Wilder's children are now have to carry the Scarlet Letter because of the way he behaved in this Tyson Fury,
unfortunately, they will. I guarantee you, some of them are getting bullied right now at school. I guarantee it. The ones that are old enough that are like, if he's got any teenage kids, I guarantee they are in a couple of fights themselves at school.
Okay.
Your dad chat shit. Well, you guys wouldn't say that. Your dad's talking trash. Your dad said this. Your dad, your dad lost. Yes, he's getting it, mate. These kids are getting it.
I think in his local town he's quite popular. I think in his local town he's quite popular.
Yeah. You don't understand Tuscaloosa, Alabama.
Yeah, you're from there. You're California, right? Yeah.
So that doesn't mean I don't understand Alabama and what it means to have tens of millions of dollars in Alabama.
I said, you know it though.
Yeah, I definitely. Like I'm also a product of private schools. I can tell you that what happens there all the way up to your teenage years.
You better get your money back because it went wrong.
It's about access and cool shit. You don't actually care. You do not care about the public persona of your parents or your friends' parents. That's not what's happening when you're there. What you're trying to get is invited to the next event. That's what's happening there.
Well, I got invited to every event and I went to public school, so therefore you should get a refund. Rachel, she got to get a refund, Smoke. I got invited everywhere for free.
No, I'm just saying that's what it. Like I said, like you got invited everywhere. What I'm saying is that's what happens with teenagers, right? That's what's going on. That's what's happening.
Yeah, they
They're
just
not.
want to get invited.
When you like, hey, you know what? Your parents, your parent took that loss horribly when you're in high school. No, don't give a damn about that.
Blood, his kids are getting bullied, blood. I don't care, blood.
Okay.
Just
Hey,
do it.
sucks.
Some of them
Everywhere he goes, this Tyson Fury cheated,
Let's
right?
talk about what Rachel Chigozi said. Wilder knocked out 38 bus drivers, but does it outweigh the detriment he inflicted on the sport? He stopped Undisputed, blocked Dillian for 1,000 days, and smeared the reputation of key people in the sport. Gone, blood clot, shut. And I can see you got the Nigerian flag. Yeah, man. Rah, rah, rah. Go on. So, go on, Leon. Let me see. We're going to ask everyone. Leon, you answered this. And then we will hear Smoke, because I already know Smoke's answer.
Yes, out of the top 5, maybe Wilder's resume is probably the weakest. But
no, answer what she said.
I'm saying, did he inflict damage on the sport?
Yeah.
I don't think people are duty bound to allow Undisputed to happen. If he didn't agree with the terms of the Joshua fight, I don't think he was duty bound to just accept whatever Hearn and Joshua was offering.
Even though he said he did purposely duck Joshua, even though you now know this, and we could pull up the tweet straight away now.
He said that he had a better offer from Joshua, but before that offer, he had agreed to rematch Tyson Fury, and he was sticking with that rematch.
Leon,
and that was the point he was making to Fury.
Leon,
he agreed. Yes.
Fight figure fans, fight fan figures. But no, Leon, no. I'm all flustered now, yeah?
No, you're ready to come for me now.
Listen,
Smoke, yeah. I'm tagging in there, Smoke. You have a rest there.
Yeah, let's Smoke have a rest over there in California.
Brilliant.
I like I wouldn't say anything much different. I like the tact you're taking.
Yeah, of course because he's a Wilder supporter like you, and I'm just like,
No, you know what? You know what it is? I saw the career of Vladimir Klitschko, and I railed against this dude's opposition and all the credit he was getting for where he is in life, and I see where it gets you. It doesn't get you anywhere. The guy's still in the Hall of Fame, and so is Wilder going to be. So you can say 38 bus driving and all this stuff until the cows come home. It's not going to stop him from getting in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah,
it's still 5 years.
I'll welcome them cows coming home. You know why? Because them cows represent truth. I'll represent the cows coming home. You lot be in the Hall of Fame being frauds and fakes. That's your business. Welcome, cows. Moo. Anyway, so Leon, answer.
What question?
You know already that he has admitted to freezing out Joshua because he wanted to do this thing with Fury, and they made up their little pact. Yeah. They made up their little pact, yeah, to fuck with their brother. Remember, this guy's pro-black. If we're going to move with his mantra, but yet you're going to fuck up 2 of your black brothers if we're going to go with
okay.
Wilder won in 50-50. And before the second Fury fight,
Leon, he's already admitted it. I don't understand how you could actually be saying anything different.
I'm explaining why he won. He wasn't happy with the split that was being offered. He won in 50-50. Same way Fury won in 50-50 before the fight. It's only after the second fight that Hearn has seen there's enough money in it to accept 50-50, and that's why that fight's able to be made now.
Okay, so let's just answer.
So if he didn't agree with the split, he shouldn't. He isn't duty bound to take it just for the sake of us fans getting to watch an Undisputed.
Okay, all right. So he didn't stop. According to you, he didn't stop an Undisputed. He blocked Dillian for 1,000 days. We've already seen the proof with the text of him saying
he told Dillian that he's. Yeah,
that you're
okay. So we want to talk about Dillian White. Let's talk about Dillian White. Is Deontay Wilder Mauricio Sulaiman?
Mm-hmm.
No, he's not.
No,
so
if
you want to talk, no. So when it comes to blocking Dillian White, who you're talking about is Mauricio Sulaiman. Right?
Yeah, Mauricio Sulaiman's
right. So for how many of those 1,000 days was Dominic Breazeale the actual mandatory and not Dillian White?
I don't know. I just know
that all of it. How about that? How about the fact that he wasn't being blocked by Deontay Wilder for even 1 day, and the mandatory was not Dillian White, it was Dominic Breazeale. And when it comes down to ducking AJ, right? I mean, they are screwing over your brother, or this or that or the other thing. There was, all right. I believe that we all can remember back to 2018 and the animosity that existed between these two camps and how and where they left it, and where they left it was 50-50 or kick rocks. Right, that's where this dude was with this entire thing. So the idea, so now let's move back to the DAZN offer. At that point, Tyson Fury and Deontay Wilder had already fought, and the vast majority, I believe that probably most people in the boxing world was like Tyson Fury won that fight, and Deontay Wilder was lucky to get a draw. So the idea that you were going to duck one guy to fight a guy who everybody thinks beat you, it seems a little, it doesn't make sense to me. Like if all you got is tough fights around, and you take a tough fight, to me that is not a duck. But and regardless of what the AJ offer was, I'm sure that when Wilder made his agreement when Wilder made his agreement with Fury, it was for 2 fights, not 1. So whatever financial windfall he was trying to mitigate, or what he felt like he lost, the cost of the opportunity of fighting AJ, he thought it was going to be mitigated with 2 fights with Fury, not 1.
He said the AJ fight, like,
yeah, he said the offer was bigger. He said that they offered more
what
money.
he was going to get with the Fury 2 fights.
Correct. That's what I'm saying. My point
Why did
is,
you go with it?
like I said, well, he said that he had already agreed to fight him. He said he was going to fight this guy, and he went through with his word to fight this guy. And I believe his word was based on them fighting twice, not the one time.
Remember, we didn't know. You know what? We didn't know Wilder. Over here, too tough. We didn't really know him. I knew about Deontay Wilder. I'm just going to give you a bit of context because he was on a reality TV show called Wags. Yeah, called Wags Miami, about a bunch of
women and girlfriends.
Yeah.
I mean, wives and girlfriends. I know.
Yeah, that's the only reason why I knew about Deontay Wilder, and it was from that show. I used to watch him on that show. He was nobody. Anyway, moving it along, he thought his plan was, I'm going to attach my name to Anthony Joshua, keep calling out Joshua, drag his name through the mud, and pretend that I really wanted to fight him. He built his name and his brand off of the back of Anthony Joshua. Am I wrong? Am I right, guys?
No, you're absolutely
I have to disagree a bit, Lady Chann.
Yes, you're absolutely incorrect. And it's kind of funny.
My opinion.
He built. You guys can all disagree. It doesn't really matter. Cool, because I was born alone. Yeah. But at the end of the day, most people know that he built up his popularity by tying his name to Anthony Joshua. And when he tied his name to Anthony Joshua, and he was calling out Anthony Joshua, and Eddie Hearn and Anthony Joshua's team was sending the correspondence. I remember I watched it vigorously. He was coming back saying, "Oh, email me, Eddie Hearn," and everyone was like, this is not how business works. We're not going to do email. Like, we need your team with your team, and we'll do the legalities that way. And then he was like, yeah, I'm going to fight Anthony Joshua. I want to fight Anthony Joshua, definitely. Then a week later, he announced that he was fighting Tyson Fury.
Yeah, but Lady Chann, we seem to forget that Deontay Wilder, he got a bronze medal in the Olympics.
Yeah, I know. He did. Yeah, this is what I'm saying. That's what heavyweight the bronze bomber.
I think it's quite rude to say that like he's inflicted a detriment on the sport, because without Wilder, I don't think the sport would be what it is today. All of this drama actually adds to the sport of boxing.
No, it doesn't.
If you think of it, it does because
you're going back into the audience in a minute, Sammy. Anyway.
No, but Lady Chann, if Wilder wasn't in the equation, a lot of the stuff that has happened so far would not happen.
We all knew that. We know that he's a bronze medalist from the Olympics.
But we may have never got the AJ Fury fight.
So is Luke Campbell. Well, it means nothing sometimes. Clearly, it means nothing. It doesn't matter just because someone's a gold medalist or a bronze medalist or a silver medalist. It doesn't mean that they're going to be the best thing since sliced bread. It just means that the background that they come from is quite a pedigree background.
I fully agree with you.
Other than that, depending on what the route they take, Sammy, It doesn't. It depending on what route they take is what's going to be detrimental or instrumental to the sport.
But Lady Chann, would you say that Wilder has had a big impact on how the heavyweight game has like changed? So like, do you think AJ Fury would have happened if Wilder hadn't fought Fury, for instance?
Yeah, it was always going to happen because AJ was always going to fight whoever to unify the division.
I don't think so. You know?
It may have been a trial and tribulation, but eventually, whoever's got the WBC belt, because that's the only belt that Joshua didn't have, and say that okay, Fury and Wilder didn't fight. Yeah, Wilder would have continued to duck AJ for as long as possible, and he would have been rebounding. It would have been Tyson Fury and Wilder fighting each other like two bloody gal. Like,
what you want to do is go back. You're going back to 2017 right now. In order to litigate, like we'd have to go through a bunch of stuff. I would just say that when Eddie Hearn said you need to build your profile, that's what Wilder was doing, because that's what apparently that's what Eddie Hearn said he needed to do in order to get an AJ fight, and that's what the man was doing. But I have a question for you guys. Do you guys know who Clifford Etienne is, or Lawrence Clay Bay, or Jameel McCline? Right, you know who these guys were? These guys were American heavyweights that almost were but never did anything. So the fact that you guys actually know who Deontay Wilder is but don't know who these other guys is like case in point. Like what you have to understand is that your archetype, your whoever you think is an idealized champion for heavyweight boxing is just in your head, and these are just people. And these people come to the sport for their own reasons and their own justification. And from what I'm understanding about Wilder, he came into this sport to make money, to feed his family, and that's what the man has done. And in the process, has amassed a Hall of Fame level record and career.
I agree.
So when it comes to the detriment of the sport, I don't know what sport they think they're watching, but it certainly isn't the world of professional boxing as it existed for the last 100 years.
Oh shit!
No, not necessarily, because if you look at the UK scene, the likes of Dillian White and other heavyweights, you'll see that they don't put on like a fake persona based on their character. They are who they are.
Yeah.
If you get what I'm saying.
Muhammad Ali said he fashioned his persona after Gorgeous George, the wrestler.
Now we're talking about UK.
Okay, all right. So
we keep it real.
Okay, so
we ain't got time for this.
We have the most successful boxer for generations just retired in Floyd Mayweather. He jacked his style from Leonard
on Wednesday.
Yes, these guys come up with personas in order to make themselves more marketable. Some guys have to do this.
Yeah, but one detriment that Floyd Mayweather inflicted on the sport is that he made everyone want to keep their O's.
Yeah,
that's a big
right. But that's different. All right, so now we're just gonna go from foible to foible. What I'm saying to you is, everybody, like, this is the entertainment business, guys. Like, guys are coming in full regalia costumes. I see AJ. Like, for me, I think AJ is under some sort of morals clause with all the sponsorships, and that his real character is something very different than his public persona.
I agree, but
right. So the idea that guys are just being real out there is a fantasy. They're not just being real. They're actually projecting an image to you so that they can become more palatable and actually more popular.
That's not true, because you have amateur boxers. Like, I'm gonna become an amateur boxer myself.
Yeah.
And we are normal people. Like,
I did say the word professional sports, right? I did say professional boxing.
Yeah, but eventually from amateur, where do people go? They become a pro. Are you not the same person? I mean, you tell me.
No, Sammy, would you be if they was offering you millions of pounds for a contract if you had to be careful what you said on social media?
Bro,
I'm not saying I wouldn't.
You ever keep it real, you keep it real. I may not be the biggest artist since sliced bread, but I've made a lot of money in my music, and I'm still who I am. So it just depends. If you're going to be a dickhead, you'll be a dickhead road sweeper. You'll be a dickhead judge. You'll be a dickhead dentist. You'll be a dickhead cook. You'll be a dickhead chef. if you're not a dickhead and you're level-headed, you'd be a level-headed artist.
Yeah,
You'd be
exactly.
a level-headed
Well,
judge.
no, we weren't talking about dick. We were talking about having a fake persona.
Money's not our gods, fam. Money's not our gods. Some people, money's not our gods. Some people, money can't buy your integrity.
Yes, that is important.
That is absolutely fine. That's nice. That is a great standard to have. I don't think anybody would fault someone for having that standard. However, that is to say that somebody is going to try to leverage their marketability in the world of professional sports and then say it's because money is their god. All right, there is a profit motive when you're going into business that does not make money your god. It just makes money the goal of that particular activity.
Yeah, but we're talking about
I can see what he's saying.
Yeah,
I can see where he's coming from.
Boxing is a prize fight in sport, so it's not
But
like
you
that.
see, there's a line.
At the end of the day, there's still things that are just because you're getting money, you shouldn't be switching up. You shouldn't.
Yeah,
people are assholes too. I mean, sorry. I mean, like you said, like some people don't have characters that I would like to at all emulate or tell my children to emulate.
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
But exactly. That's my whole point. Is I actually don't get my morals or ethics from sporting figures because I don't think that they actually exhibit many of them because I understand their thing is to entertain for money. And really what they're trying to do is hit and not get hit. And so I try to appreciate what they're actually doing versus what I would like for them to be doing.
Yeah, but what you do have to actually also accept that a lot of kids and impressionable people do get their aspiration from people in the public eye. So that has to be bared in mind as well.
They definitely. Okay, so here's the thing. So Muhammad Ali was one of my idols growing up, right? So here's the other thing. I'm of a certain age, so all of my heroes are dead, really. All these guys they're in the clear. But my parents were also in the Nation of Islam. So if you take the fact that was in line with also the values that I had in my home. But then once I got outside of my own community, I realized that those values were absolutely antithetical to a lot of people, right? Hey, hold on one second.
Yeah, Nation. Yeah, my dad's Muslim, but Nation of Islam is a bit different. But I've still looked on it and stuff. I've got my Bible, I've got my Quran. It's just like whatever. But like, I'm just saying, like, I just think that people's integral values shouldn't have a price attached to it. That's all.
Yeah, I agree, but I see what he's saying because I think fighters, they tend to like sway away from the actual fights. They look for the money fights.
Yeah.
They don't look for the big fights. They look for the money.
They look for the money in it.
Yeah.
And that is why we're in the situation that we're in now, where nobody wants to fight each other because the purses isn't right and this isn't right and COVID's been brought into it and we're not getting the fights that we want. And this is why I decided to do a show on the heavyweights because I feel like the heavyweight division is really suffering. It's like it just feels like the elite level are all fucking about. And it's trickling down that nothing is happening below elite. So we're not even seeing unless you go really digging, we're not really seeing the Adam Kawanakis as much as we should. Do you understand? We're not really seeing who was the other guy that I saw one day? He's from Azerbaijan. You know who he is. You know who he is because he's big in this as well. Majidov. You know you know him.
Yeah, Majidov.
Yeah.
Him versus Babic would be a good one.
Yeah, I know. This is what I wanted to bring him into the conversation, but because of what's happened at this elite level, this is why I wanted to discuss the heavyweight division. It's just fucked.
But we have boxers like Dillian White who are giving us fights that are like 50-50.
Yeah, but it's only him, bruv.
Okay.
What do you think on Dillian? All right, Smoke. Where do you think the state of it? Because I want to shift it a bit from Deontay Wilder.
Let's do it.
We spent way too long, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Polarizing figure.
And I appreciate everybody's input on it. Everybody's, even the ones I didn't agree with its input, right? But what I want to talk about, where do you think the state of affairs of where the heavyweight division is right now? Do you think it's looking healthy?
I think
we're on the brink of undisputed, aren't we? Sorry, get this.
Hang on, everybody one at a time. Sorry.
Go ahead. Brink of undisputed.
Lee, go, and then Smoke,
ahead.
and then Axan.
There's a lot of blockages and there's a lot of annoying things for us as fight fans that are stopping what we want to happen. But in the midst of all of this, we've got this big carrot of Undisputed being dangled in front of us. And I think if that fight gets announced, it changes the whole outlook on the whole on the whole era in general. And hopefully it will lead to a lot of activity. If if we get the Undisputed and then the WBO belt comes up for grabs, there's a title fight there to happen. And then there's the rematch. Who knows whether it's going to, that means another belt's going to get sacrificed. And I think that we will start to have more fighters taking more risks because all the belts will be tied up. So that you can't keep playing it safe, waiting for a chance because there'll be less. But I'm just hoping that in the midst of all this annoyance that's happening, we've got a big chance of it exploding into life, even in these times.
Smoke. Sorry, go ahead, Smoke. Thanks, Lee. Where do you feel that the heavyweight?
I got it. I think that there's something that's going on in the heavyweight division that's indicative of the entire sport, and that is fans wanting the fights that they want when they want it, and the fact that the sport has always been predicated on guys getting paid to get punched in the face. And these two groups, self-interest at this point, aren't in alignment, and boxers have a lot more self-determination than they have in the past. So fans have become accustomed to getting the fights that they want when they want them with a lot more frequency that they're getting today. And what that has to, I think that is creating a bunch of conflict, but also in the United States, our best athletes who are heavyweights are not going into boxing. So Sami, sorry,
Sami.
right, as Sami was saying earlier, from his perspective, who were the top boxers and the elite boxers, it didn't escape me that all he said was a bunch of Europeans. I don't agree with that, but I understand where that thought process comes from, and I think that has something to do with the popularity of the division and where it's headed, right? Because America is still the top market for boxing, but it isn't necessarily the top market for heavyweights for that fight, for specifically the undisputed fight, which is the biggest fight I think in English boxing history.
Yeah,
by a long way, right? So there's these competing interests with the history of undisputed versus how many sanctioning bodies there are now and how long it's been since we've had an undisputed, and the nature of the way the divisions changed in that time that we're just going through. And COVID messed up the momentum. Since 2017, we're on a really great run for heavyweights. There's a bunch of drama. There's a bunch of fights. COVID happened. The top guys need audiences. They need people to be there, and the audiences just aren't there yet for the pandemic. So it seems like the spotlight is going to stagnate on the top guys for a minute as they get their viewing audience, back up, and it comes down to the up and comings, the Povetkin White rematch, and what's going on with
that was done with
Parker and stuff like that. It's like all the guys who don't require large audiences and a bunch of money in order for them to have fights, right? So I think
like White and Povetkin, because that was the first heavyweight fight that I saw.
Yeah. And so it has the effect a little bit of like kissing your sister, where it's not the best fights, it's not the guys you're really interested in, and all that stuff. So I think there's just some momentum lost from the COVID, but we still have the same characters in there, even though they've been dinged up a bit. They still are exciting characters. They're still relatively close to their prime, so I think the future's still bright.
Yeah, with the heavyweight division. Sami?
So I feel like where we're lucky to be part of a generation of like quality heavyweights, there are two major issues. So like one is we have promoters that don't want to work together to give us the fights that we want. And the second issue is we have governing bodies that are bending their own rules because they're basically being pushed by these promoters. Like Mauricio Suleiman, now you guys are gonna disagree with this, but I personally feel like Undisputed should wait, White Povetkin should happen, and the mandatory
AJ Usyk go.
Yeah, and I feel like the mandatory of White Povetkin should fight for the world title because that's the right way.
That's what I feel.
I don't think we should rush undisputed.
Undisputed. Me neither. I feel that because then if you just remove this undisputed thing out of the way, you know, then we don't have all of this contention with Usyk and step aside and this and that. All we do is just let White Povetkin fight. We let AJ Usyk fight, and whoever wins out of the AJ Usyk fight, then they go on to fight. Who would they go on to fight? The winner out of AJ and Usyk, because then they would be the belt holder, or because Usyk will have more to gain than what Anthony Joshua has. Because if Anthony, this is mandatory for AJ, but if Usyk beats AJ, he takes all the belt.
You might have Joyce versus Wilder at the same time.
Huh?
I mean,
you get what I'm saying? What I'm trying to say is it's possible because you could have Joyce versus Wilder, you could have Usyk versus AJ, you can have White versus Povetkin and have some final elimination.
And doing an elimination,
What I'm trying to say is this is in an ideal world. But the problem with boxing
not ideal
is that we're never going to get what we want.
Yeah.
I mean, there's never going to be this understanding between all of the promoters, governing bodies, because there's too many.
Yeah.
When it comes to undisputed, there's always a little bit of hypocrisy because on the one hand, we get upset with fighters demanding a mandatory getting in the way of undisputed, but the whole point of being undisputed is holding belts, and the whole point of holding belts is facing your mandatories. You know, so you've, you know, to me, if you're a purist in the form of you want undisputed, then in that case, you want an undisputed, you want a champion that faces mandatories and then had the undisputed bout and then continues to face the mandatories. Like, we can't be upset with Usyk for wanting his mandatory shot, or even if it would be Povetkin or Dylan White or whoever becomes the WBC mandatory. If they want to think, well, I'm not waiting for undisputed in the hope of getting a shot. I want my shot now while it's there. And I think that mandatories and even rematch clauses should be honoured. You know, in my ideal thing, I think that Fury and Wilder would have their rematch, and I think Usyk would face AJ, and then if Fury and AJ came through that, then they will be free then to pursue their
if Usyk and AJ, like, say, let's throw a curveball, say Usyk beats AJ, right? What then Usyk is to fight who? Will Fury want? Yeah, they'll just say Usyk beats him twice. Then will Fury want an undisputed fight with Usyk?
I think Fury wouldn't have any problems.
He would vacate that belt, and then he would still probably want to make the fight with AJ. But then AJ's stock is mad low then because he has nothing. He's lost to Usyk. Do you see where it could go? But
we also need to take into consideration that we have Jarrell Miller, who's going to enter the scene in the new year. He's going to be back.
Oh yeah, what was he banned for? 2 years, wasn't it?
Yeah, and I think he's back in the new year, so we also have to consider that he has a place in all of this.
He's banned. He's coming back 2022. 2023.
Yeah, so let's say undisputed.
So he got 2-year ban, but that got issued. Oh, well, that got issued. That got issued. So he'll be coming back late towards 2022. Yeah, I get you. But
so you sure it's not this year? Because it will be 2 years ago this year when he originally popped.
No, but then he just.
Oh, no, he done again, didn't he? He did it again, didn't he?
Yeah, and he got a 2-year ban. I'm not sure if that ban started this year or was that last year. I can't remember, but yeah.
But we have a lot of heavyweights in the mix, basically.
Yeah, we have a lot of heavyweight. I'm looking at people's questions. TBE, hi TB. Do you want to come in and say some bits and pieces? Like here's the link. And TB, I was online with him on Counterpunch Boxing News a couple of days ago at like odd o'clock in the morning. Wild, you know me. After I finish my shows on Wednesday, I'm having all the rest of the week off. Sorry guys, that's a lot of content. I'm standby. I'm doing Rachel Ball and Rachel Ball. She's going to be doing she's going for the right now she's the WBC interim champ, and I think there's what's on the line. I think one of the belts. I forget. It's really bad. Is it the WBO or the WBA? Yeah, but anyway, I'm interviewing her tomorrow, and then I'm co-presenting with another channel on this channel though to do all about Floyd Mayweather. So that I'm really looking forward to doing that. Money May, from Pretty Boy Floyd, Money May. Okay, so hang on, someone is entering the.
Yeah, she's part of the vacant WBA bantamweight title.
Yeah. So I'm having her tomorrow. I can't wait. Okay, TBE, Wagwan, Popcorn.
What's up, Lady Chann? What's going on?
Right. What's going on down in Brooklyn?
Everything is everything.
I come from Brooklyn. Nobody see, nobody heard it. Just another funeral service.
Yeah, I see a lot of. I see you have a lot of things coming up. A lot of different shows coming up.
Yeah, I do.
What's up with that Floyd Mayweather thing? What is that all about?
All about Floyd Mayweather.
Okay.
Yeah, so basically we're just going to talk about his career, you know, from spanning from Pretty Boy, our favorite fights, to him being Money May, you know, coming back into the game. The one that's coming up with one of those Paul brothers. Yeah, we're just talking about what we loved, what we maybe didn't love about Money May, like you know, about Floyd.
Okay. Hey, look to everybody in the chat.
Hello.
Nobody see, nobody heard it.
What's the topic?
The topic is the heavyweights.
Okay.
And the heavyweight division.
There's not much in the heavyweight division these days. I mean, not that many top heavyweights around there. I mean, besides Dylan White, Fury, Joshua, Ruiz, Parker. But everybody got to fight everybody, you know. So we need to see everybody fight everybody. I mean, I don't know. I haven't seen Parker fight anybody recently.
He's coming in for a fight soon. He's with Junior Farr.
You know, that would be nice. I mean, I hear when we talk about the heavyweights, I don't really hear his name mentioned. He's one of the better heavyweights out there.
Yeah.
You know.
Would you say there's like elite, world elite, and then there's world level of heavyweight? So like if we put in the world elite, like Anthony Joshua, Tyson Fury. Who else would you put in world elite? Would you put Deontay Wilder in world elite or world? So like world elite would be like top 3. Would Wilder be in world elite, or would he be in world? TBE. Where'd he go? I don't know where he went. I don't know. Maybe. TBE, are you in the building? He'll come back through. His Wi-Fi sometimes f's up. Okay, so I want to quickly go through, like, because we've got so much comments, guys, and I never planned for this show to be this long, because people hate watching mad long shows. And all Fury has is Klitschko, and he didn't even afford a rematch. No, because he knew that was a tough fight for him, man. So I think that's why he do you think he ducked Klitschko for a rematch?
Fury ducking all over the place. Now, if you want to talk about character that's actually associated with boxing, I would prefer for these champs to actually honor their rematches. I feel like it's kind of interesting that when Ruiz when he was trying to get out and get some more money, everybody was like, no, you signed the contract. But for some reason, when it's Fury's time to sign contracts, people develop amnesia. They're like, hey, no, he can fight whoever he wants. He can go on to these other things. In an ideal world, he'd be fighting somebody else. Like, what's going on? Like, really, what's up?
I'm down with that as well. I think he's just he evades the most. Like he does. Sammy, do you think the same about Fury?
No, I would say that he fought Klitschko once and he beat him fair and square. We can say whatever we want, but like he's beaten him once. What more?
And
have I
it
got to
wasn't
say?
close enough to it warranted a rematch, really, was it? So yeah.
Now, you do know that they sold tickets to the rematch. That rematch got postponed twice.
Really?
The rematch was already baked in. That's what I'm saying. Like first he just is an injury, so they rescheduled. They booked the date. They sold
Yeah,
tickets to
because
this thing,
he allowed
and
the
he pulled
IBF
out.
belt to get vacated because he had the rematch and he wasn't facing his mandatory for the IBF. So I think that's how Charles Martin might have ended up with the belt. But
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
in a fight
he
that
was.
the guy got injured in the fight.
No,
Not
but I
even.
I
do
don't think.
agree that
Yeah.
he's ducking and diving quite a bit. Like
Yeah,
he's
of course he
definitely
does.
ducking and diving.
Yeah, he does. Mad
But
ducks
why
and
would he
dives.
have been? Why would he have been scared to fight Klitschko after he just
Because it was a
soundly
tough fight.
outboxed him?
He was scared to fight Dylan White.
Um,
Yeah, come on, you.
Recently, he could have made a yeah.
Yeah,
He's
sorry
fun.
about that. My internet connection got
Yeah,
messed
I
up.
know.
But
It
anyway,
happened the last time. Yeah.
yeah. You talking about Fury afraid to fight Klitschko after the first fight?
Yeah.
No, the guy was out drinking, drugging, and having a mental breakdown. I mean, the Fury, back then Fury had some serious issues. I mean, I don't think he was scared to fight Klitschko. He beat Klitschko easy. I mean, why would he be scared?
And then just went off on his thing.
Yeah, he never defended the title. Okay, went off he was running around talking about nobody respecting him and talking a whole bunch of nonsense. I mean, he was like he went crazy. I mean,
He was having similar effect to what Wilder's having now. To be honest, some of the things
exactly. You're right about that. That's a good point.
close to as what Wilder's, not as drastic. But he was as close to the way that Wilder's being vilified. He was being vilified
Yeah,
by some people
but
thought he was doing.
only difference was he won the fight. He didn't lose it.
Right. I just want to get guys. I want us to get through some of my lovely guests' comments, if you guys don't mind, because they're really here. Oh God, there's so much. I appreciate it, but you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna chop this whole stream up into segments, and I'll put it out like that. So don't worry. Just I'm gonna edit it. I know how to do it. I'll edit it and I'll put it out in more digestible chunks. Hey, Smoke. I think people love.
You know what you can do? You can do it by subject and just timestamp it and put it in the comments so people can just know when you
Yeah.
switch subject. You don't want to
Smoke,
chop it up. Yeah.
Smoke, do me a favor in the private chat. Can you leave me your contact details?
Yeah, right now.
Yeah, thanks. And you, TBE, in the private chat, could you leave me your contact details, please? TBE.
I got you. I'm doing it now.
Oh, okay. I thought your internet had fucked up again. Out and be Canada. And leave your head on the wall. RIP in memory of. Never show thy enemy love.
Yes,
Brooklyn.
you're a rapper, huh?
Yeah.
A
Yeah.
chanter.
I'm a MC. I'm a DJ. Jamaican style.
I used to live off the L train.
Huh?
I used to live right off the L train.
Oh, did you?
Okay.
Brooklyn, baby.
Brooklyn. I love Brooklyn.
One heavyweight I want to see next,
Yeah, go
be
ahead.
interesting, is Andrew Ruiz. After we see what he develops from being with Eddie Reynoso.
Yeah, well, he's Eddie Reynoso.
Whether he's introduced a bit of discipline.
Yeah.
If he's, it would be nice to see him as a disciplined fighter.
Sí, muy interesante.
Let's see what he's going to do.
Yeah, I second that. I would love to see what he's looking like now. I would like to see him fight not Joshua, but Wilder. That would be a good fight. That would be an interesting fight. Or
Yeah,
even
didn't we? Yeah, go ahead.
or even Usyk. Him and Usyk would be a good fight.
That's a very good shout.
Ruiz and Dillian White's a good one.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's what I mean. It's annoying. There's so many great fights.
Yeah.
So many great fights. But they all have to be right, don't they? They have to be right for both boxers. They have to be right for there's a lot of elements that have to fit in for these fights to actually happen.
Yeah.
And we're just not getting a lot of these elements meeting, because we got the fighters, we've got the purses, we've got the promotions, we've got the networks. Everything has to be in alignment to make this happen.
It's happening still in lightweight in 135. This whole shit as well. So it's not even just the heavyweight category. I think in 135, but that's another topic. So we don't want to lead into that. But it was just something that I thought. It's just not happening at heavyweight. It's a sport of boxing, on and off. It happens, cherry picking promoters, and you know.
So who's gonna win the Joshua Fury fight?
Oh God. Go ahead. You guys. I'm gonna go. You guys talk.
I say Fury. I had to say Fury because I think he's got more ways to beat him. I'm not saying it will be easy. I'm not saying it will be a demolition like Fury's predicting. But I just think if I had to choose somebody, I have to give Fury the slight edge. Although AJ is very much in this.
Smoke, are you back? Yeah.
Yeah, I think AJ is not the right fight for. I think Fury is just a stylistic nightmare for AJ. His reach is too long. He has just too many ways to confuse and frustrate AJ. I think it's something like a 8-3-9-4 kind of fight.
Mm-hmm. Oh, that's what you're calling it, really?
But
really?
I meant 8-4-9-3. Sorry.
Yeah, for Fury, right?
Yeah, I think I think the AJ Wilder is a lot closer than the AJ Fury.
Okay, I think it's both of their toughest fight to date. It's definitely going to be their toughest fight to date. And like I've said previously, if they fought 10 times, there'd be different outcomes every single time. Like Fury would win a couple of times, AJ would win a couple of times, vice versa, back and forth. But
I'd like to see him fight 3 times at least. I mean, depending on how the fights go. Like, regardless of how it goes, the first time I want to see a rematch, and probably
going to be a rematch.
And it probably would take a trilogy to separate them. The same way I'd like to see a trilogy with Wilder.
Yeah.
Well, I think all these guys
fight
to really determine what's up with him, not just one time.
No, it has to be 2 fights. But I do think that AJ gets the win. I do think that AJ knocks Fury out. People always downplay the power that AJ has. And
you think he could beat him twice?
I do, because you know why? Because
I think beating Fury a second time will be a difficult thing.
No, it will be difficult. Don't get it twisted. It will be mad difficult. But AJ is such an evolved fighter. He learned from every single fight, and his camp, like, fair play to Rob McCracken and all of that. They'll learn from the first win, and they'll know how to pick how to win again from the tactics that Fury is going to exemplify. So they're going to see the weaknesses and they're going to see the pros and cons. I think it's going to be mad tight, but go ahead.
I have a question for you, lady Chann. Like, what fight are group of fights that you think AJ is going to draw on to get this knockout on Fury?
What do you mean? What group of fights?
If it's not just one fight, if it's like if it's a couple of fights that what you saw him do in like one fight or 1 or 3 fights, like what is it that you've seen him do that leads you to think he's gonna knock him out?
I think that AJ.
Like the AJ that in the Ruiz rematch, or the AJ in the White fight, or what?
No. We like, this is my whole point. So all of those AJs have got to the AJ where we're at. Whereas, let's see, has Tyson Fury really evolved much? He hasn't really made that much of his awkward fighting style has always been the same. He's the only thing that's changed since that we will probably see, according to Javon at Sugar Hill, is that the flicky jabs, that he does, Fury does, they're putting an end to all that slapping shit. They want proper jabs now. We're not doing all this shit and slapping and that. That's Fury's style, and I hate it. I just haven't seen him evolve as much as AJ. So I think we're going to see all of the AJ, because we saw that with the Pulev. I called it. I said we're going to see a round 9 or 10 knockout, because he can get Pulev out there mad quicker than that. But he's going to want to show what he's learned since Ruiz 2. So he's going to do how he boxed in Ruiz 2 with what he's learned thus far. And we saw it. He's evolved every single fight. I rewatched him fight Povetkin, right? And I realized where now that the job that I do now in boxing, so when I'm watching fights now, I watch it with a different type of eye. I'm analyzing And I realized where AJ was going mad wrong, and he's only started to rectify it. AJ was fighting like he was small. AJ was fighting like he was short. That's why he was always going wrong. He never used his height really as an advantage. He never used his reach as an advantage. He always fights like mid-range to close, where AJ a lot of the times could do himself a load of favors and get people and hold them at bay with a nice straight long jab, yeah, and stop fighting so small and short. Watch the Povetkin fight again. He fought, and that's why he got Povetkin out of there. But the shaky stuff is every time he was fighting too small, he fights like he's his opponent's height, and that's where he always goes wrong. Where Tyson Fury, his strong point is he always fights like he's a tall guy, like he should. Does that make sense to any of you guys?
Yeah, because I can kind of see Tyson Fury outboxing AJ, but AJ pulls out a haymaker in the late rounds and knocks out Fury. But I think it would be quite a close matchup. But the reason I would say, from a biased point of view, I would like AJ to win is because even though I don't think his boxing technique is as great as Fury's, he definitely has that punch power. And I want to see him have a rematch with Dylan White.
Who?
AJ.
Oh no, we've gone past that, man. I'm done with that. We don't need to see that. Anybody want to elaborate?
Well, I think that I would think that, all right, in terms of boxing style, let's say, not so much technique, but style, Fury got a pretty good, he got a fluid style, okay?
Mm-hmm.
He's been that way his whole career.
Would you say that AJ fought short?
Yeah, I agree with that, especially against Ruiz. But I'm thinking that Joshua is going to have to fight Fury, not box him. Okay, he's going to have to fight like the way he fought Klitschko. Okay, trying to stay out at long, like fighting tall against Fury. I don't think that's going to work. Trying to stay at stay outside.
No, that's not going to work for Fury because Fury's got longer reach and
exactly. So he's going to have to fight Fury on the inside, take the fight to Fury.
Yeah.
And he has to fight Fury, not just box him. But the good news is that there was this was coming from Fury actually, where he was talking about when Joshua was an amateur, he sparred Joshua and Joshua almost knocked him out.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So yes. So I mean. I think it's going to be a tough fight for Fury, because if Joshua goes in there to actually fight him and not play around with him, take the fight to him, be aggressive. I think we can see, AJ winning the fight. But I mean, to say that Fury didn't, we saw Fury make adjustments in the Wilder fight where he pushed Wilder backwards, so he did play the style for that fight.
Yeah, made him fight in the back foot. But I mean, that's not that hard to impose when you're 6'9", nearly 300 pounds. You impose a lot of people to fight on the back foot when you're of that stature. So I'm just saying, in comparison to AJ, has Fury really? I think he's peaked. Well, what we're going to see next is him at it's his peak, like. Whereas I can still see AJ still evolving.
So, right. So that idea that AJ is evolving, I agree with. The idea that he has made all these adjustments, I don't really see that. And from the Pulev that I just saw, what I saw was AJ exhibiting the same mistake that I think he did in the Ruiz fight. And that is when he gets a guy hurt, he goes for the gusto. And in the Pulev fight, he didn't get Pulev out of there, and he wound up punching himself
out. He got him out there in 3 rounds.
No. I'm saying he got him hurt in the third, right? And then he tried to get him out of there early, and he punched himself out without getting Pulev out of there, right? So it took a minute.
Pulev tried to be back.
My point is when he was trying to get Pulev out of there after he had him hurt in the third, he punched himself out and had to be cut.
He gassed out a little bit.
Yeah, exactly. That's my point. That's my point. Is that he's still when he has a guy hurt, he goes for broke. And in that Pulev fight, he actually gassed out going
Not
for broke.
completely
Yes,
gassed
I
out.
saw
Uh,
that.
No,
let me,
no, no, no.
I don't really agree with that.
No,
let
he
me, let me
didn't. He
just say,
didn't completely gas out because if he
no,
completely
okay. Well,
gas out, he would have scored.
All I mean is he needed to get a
He
second win.
slowed down on
Right,
round 4.
exactly. He had to
I,
get. That's what I mean by gassing out. Not that
Yeah.
he was completely done. Just that he went for broke. He threw a lot of heavy shots over a couple of rounds. Didn't get Pulev out of there, and then needed to recover.
I'm have to
I see
Right.
disagree with
So
that.
so
And the
so
reason I'm
so
going,
the idea would be the adjustment that he needs to make is when he has a guy hurt, instead of trying to brute his way through, be tactical in getting a guy out of there.
well,
Go to his body. So
that's
go
ex-
to the body and start breaking him down instead
that's
of trying to
exactly
muscle.
what he did. That's what he did.
That's not what he had him hurt in the third. He got him out of there in the 10th.
Now,
That's not.
hold on. Let me make my.
That's not. I wasn't even done. You're coming into a thing. I'm almost done, and you can jump in. So, I, he went back to his boxing ability, but where I think that's not going to really help him when it comes to the Fury fight. If Fury decides to use lateral movement, I don't see AJ as a guy that cuts the ring off very well, or is able to really. But what I see from AJ is his strengths are his combination punches from mid range, and he has a hell of an uppercut
Yeah,
from up close, right?
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah.
the issue is Tyson Fury is not a mid range fighter and doesn't really even try to engage you on the mid range, and he smothers you up close. So how is AJ going to actually catch the dude and then make him fight at that in spaces where Tyson Fury notoriously does not fight him?
That's a
Okay.
good point, man.
Well,
Teeny.
I think that I think you're making your assessment about the way he was. Like you say, he gassed out. I don't think he gassed out at all. I think what happened is that he was going for the gusto when he had Pulev hurt, but then he caught himself and said, "Whoa, no, let me just ease back a little bit." That's what I did against Ruiz, and I got knocked out. He eased off of Pulev and took his time.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and so he actually made the adjustment. You saw the adjustment being made in real time. Okay, it's not
Mm-hmm.
about him gassing out. He didn't gas out at all in that fight. I
He
didn't see nowhere
didn't.
where he gassed out.
He
Okay, so
slowed down.
yeah, he just
Yeah.
stopped and just eased off
And,
of Pulev.
reset.
Yeah,
Yeah,
no,
because he realized that he was going in there and going too crazy on
Yeah.
Pulev.
So he reset.
And the thing
bro.
about the only criticism I have of him against Pulev is that when he had Pulev hurt, he was headhunting. He should have hit, did some body shots, but he didn't do any body shots. He just, he went for the head alone, which is not good. Okay. Now, as for the way he fought Pulev, I mean, I saw him, did a lot of adjustments in that fight. I mean, I saw him. He's moving his head. He's slipping punches as opposed to blocking punches, which is a good thing. I mean, I
Yeah.
think he should move his head more. Okay, he needs to move his head more, not be so
Mhm.
straight up, stand up. But he
Yeah.
was slipping punches, and previously, he's the kind of guy who would actually block punches as opposed to moving his head from side to side, which he did against Pulev. So I mean, I don't think that he gassed out at all. I didn't see
Yeah.
that.
Yeah. Lee, do you think? I
Did I
think
think he gassed
I
out?
think the referee was very negligent in that fight. That's my opinion. Pulev should have been out of there. It shouldn't have gone beyond the third round. But hey, but go on, Lee.
Yeah. Do I think he gassed out? I don't. I think since whatever's happened since the second Andy Ruiz match, I think Joshua said he had some kind of operation or something. He said he had some kind of issue that was affecting his stamina or something. But I don't think he gassed out. I just think he just erred on the side of caution. Didn't want to go steaming in like he did against Ruiz.
Yeah.
But I don't think he expected it to take him. I don't think he expected Pulev to rally back and for him to take him so many more rounds to finish the job from round 3.
Say that again. Sorry.
I don't think Joshua expected it to take him so long to finish the job. From the time he had him hurt in round 3 and he turned his back, I don't think he thought he would still have been there into the later rounds.
Yeah.
Well, Pulev is a tough guy.
He was extremely tough.
So round 6 and round 7 was like it probably might be a historic low for AJ's output. Like I don't know how you guys don't see that. Like for me,
Yeah, I can see that.
it makes perfect sense for the shots that he was throwing for 2 solid rounds. He was trying to take the dude's head off. It is human. That is a human response to need to recover. And it's not a knock on the guy, other than he just needs to, when he has a guy hurt, approach it differently. We both agree that he needs to, instead of headhunt, go to the body. I mean, it's not a big
Yeah.
deal. It's
I
not
can
like
see.
we're talking about his historical stamina issue.
Yeah.
The dude was just using his brute strength and throwing super heavy shots for a couple rounds.
Yes.
That's all I mean by it. I think he punched himself out, needed to recover, and the adjustment that he needs to make moving forward is once you have a guy hurt.
Better punch
Yeah,
selection.
exactly. Just start breaking the guy down. Just don't try to muscle him out of there.
I
Yeah.
can see where he's coming from though, because like some of the mistakes that AJ made in the fight that you may not have noticed, if he makes those mistakes fighting Fury, they could be more detrimental, because Fury ain't gonna allow those little mistakes to slide.
Yeah,
He's
he's
gonna
not
take
them
every
type of
chance.
questions. He'll get some answers. Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah,
you're
so-
right.
So I can see where Smokes is coming from.
I think, in terms of the fight, again, the difference between Fury, but not Fury, but Joshua and Wilder, for example, is Wilder is a one-punch guy who's chasing that right hand the whole night. I think, like your guest just said, Joshua has combination punching, which is going to be the difference in the Fury fight. I think those combination punches and that uppercut is probably going to cause Fury some problems, especially the combination punches. And I think that, Joshua is a much better boxer than Wilder. So he's going to give Fury, he's going to give him problems, I think. It's not going to be an easy road for Fury against Joshua by any means, I don't think. And I think that Joshua also has the power. I think he's probably a heavier puncher than, well, not probably, he's a heavier puncher than Fury.
Yeah.
So it's going to be an interesting fight overall. I can't wait to see it, actually.
Me too. Me too. It is going to be mad interesting. And couldn't somebody, one of you guys, talk about is there heavyweight prospects that you are feeling at the minute? Because we talked about Smoke. Did you see when
You're talking about Hrgovic?
Yeah. So
prospect of the year?
Yeah.
I would say Fabio Wardley.
Fabio Wardley for you, Sammy.
I like Wardley. He's good.
like
The other big baby Miller coming out of the U.S. is a good guy. I like Joyce, even though he's a little long in the tooth to be considered a prospect.
Yeah.
Philip Hrgovic to me is also, the dude's just been around too long for me to consider him a prospect, but his level of competition still says. Say again.
Who's two? After Joe Joyce, you talk about Hrgovic you don't consider him a prospect because he's been around.
It's kind of weird. He's just, he didn't.
He's
I've been hearing about this guy we've been hearing about Hrgovic for 10 years. So it's just
wow.
That's when he was sparring with the reason why David Haye had to postpone the Klitschko fight was Philip Hrgovic, Philip Hrgovic sparring session, right? So it's just kind of like a 28-year-old prospect is up there in the Joe Joyce category for me. Like, he's just a little long in the tooth, but I get why he's a prospect. I want to see him step up. My favorite though of that, if we're gonna say, it would probably be Joe Joyce. I like Joe a lot. Slow Joe.
Joe. I like Joe Joyce.
Daniel Dubois and Nathan Gorman are definitely still in the picture.
Yeah,
because they only have like one loss on their record. They can definitely come back.
Yeah, Daniel Dubois can come back. It's just a shame how he kind of went out. Like on his first major test, he kind of failed.
Yeah, but to be fair, he fought an Olympic gold medalist. I think it's a similar situation to the Dillian White versus.
It was a tough fight.
They rushed him too fast forward. That's what it was. They got gassed to see him knock out bums.
I think it was a good experience.
1, 2, 3, 4 rounds, and thought, we can put him here now. And they underestimated Joe Joyce. Thought, Joe Joyce is 34, 35, 36 at the time, whatever. Negated everything that, because this guy's powerful, negated that, all right, he's an Olympic medalist. They never took that serious. They didn't really take any of Joe Joyce serious, any of his pedigree. So I just think that him failing was his team's fault. in my
No,
opinion.
because I feel like it was definitely the right decision for them because it
No.
was good for them to see where the bar is at.
No, not
And
at that expense.
they know what
No.
improvements to make.
Not at that expense. No, he could have. Who could he have fought instead of Joyce? But that would have still been able to be like a gaugeometer of where he was.
Probably Fabio Woodley.
Right. But this is what I'm saying. Fabio Wardley doesn't offer enough because he's a prospect as well. So they're never, even though Joe Joyce is a prospect, he's a pedigreed prospect. So they're never going to do. Fabio Wardley is white collar as well. He has no amateur background. So, I mean, it's going to be prospect versus prospect. They didn't want to do that, even though that would have been still a safe way and a good way to gauge what they thought they were going to put. They pushed him straight away to an Olympic medalist.
But I feel like he's going to be able to break that fight down and like he's going to be able to analyze where he made mistakes for future fights. 100%.
Nah, man.
What do you guys think about the
he got fast forwarded.
I think they rushed him into that fight.
Yeah, of course they did. They rushed him.
He wasn't ready for that fight yet.
They rushed him. They rushed him way too much.
I thought he fought valiantly up until the point. He was definitely getting outboxed, but he still had.
Yeah, but that fight didn't need to happen. This is what we're saying. He was rushed.
Hold on. We were calling for that fight. We were saying this is a great 50-50 fight. Two domestic fighters making their way up. The last time we had something like that was Joshua versus White, or White versus Joshua. I think it was still there.
Yeah.
I think it was a good fight, and I think it caught a lot of attention. It was always going to be the wrong fight for the fighter that lost, but I was glad the fight got made.
I think they still fast forwarded him.
If Joyce lost, we would have said the same.
No, if Joyce lost, we would have said Joyce has to hang up his gloves.
If Joyce was lost, he would have been a long way back.
Yeah.
Exactly. Like it's bad for whoever lost.
Yeah.
I think in retrospect we can look at the fight and say that he wasn't ready for Joyce. I mean, it might have been a little rushed. I would agree with what Lady Jan said about rushing him. I think they should maybe Joyce is probably 2 fights down the road, maybe one or two.
Yeah. I'm not saying they would have had to wait like years to get the Joe Joyce fight, but I just feel that it was mad rushed. I just feel like
he definitely got valuable experience in the fight, though. That's for sure.
And a broken orbital bone. I saw Frank Warren say today that basically he's gonna touch base. They got to see when he comes back, when is he allowed to go back into training and stuff like that. So
it might be the end of his career.
Yeah, it could be. I heard he's very down in the dumps. That's what Frank Warren said.
There's a lot of rumors, but let's see, because I definitely think that the bar is gonna be back. Like he's definitely coming back. I can't see him quitting at this stage.
Yeah, I hope he comes back. I want him to come back, but you never know what someone's mental fortitude is. I'm afraid, so we can't speculate on someone's mental health or what's going on in their mind. So
hey, this is off topic, but I want to ask a question. I hear there's a rumor about Eubanks fighting Book. Anybody hear about that?
Oh please, no one wants to see that fight anyway. No one cares. No one is. Eubanks getting on the nerves anyway. Like he needs to go sit somewhere. He really does.
Nobody think that would be an interesting fight?
Huh?
Nobody thinks that would be an interesting fight?
To be honest, we can't really say much for Eubanks either. He's still got more to prove.
He's got way more to prove. Talking about Canelo, he's talking about Triple G. No, my dude. Triple G will bang him over.
But what about Book? Him and Book. What about him and Book?
Cal Brook is fought at 147. Yeah, Cal Brook can fight at what? So Cal Brook, he went from 154. He went from 154. I think he's fought at 160 before. But then he's gone all the way to 147 to fight Bud, and now and lost devastatingly. Now you want him to go all the way up to fight Chris Eubank. Mate, you're not worth my hassle. Chris Eubank Jr. is not worth the hassle of doing it.
Saying that Chris Eubank Jr. had a long camp with Roy Jones Jr., where he's learned a lot of new skills. So I don't think that we should like disregard him as of yet. But let's get back onto topic, anyways.
Yeah.
Which was heavyweight prospects.
Yeah. So, has anyone else got any more heavyweight prospects or heavyweight anything in general?
There's Solomon Dakries.
Yeah.
Who's coming up?
Anybody heard of him?
No.
And how old is he?
Tommy
Give us
Fury.
his stats. Give us his stats. How old? Age? Height? Reach?
No, as in he was in the amateurs and now he's turning pro.
Has he turned pro yet?
Yeah, he's just turned pro, so he's gonna have his debut like pretty soon. And then we have Tommy Fury, so Tyson Fury's younger brother.
I saw that. God, guys, that's what I wanted to say. Who I just want to discount, like I think he's overhyped because of his surname, is Huey Fury.
Yeah, he's
rubbish. What are your thoughts, guys? I just say it. He's rubbish. But I
wouldn't say rubbish.
He's taken dangerous fights. He's not lost any fights that he should have won.
Because he fought Pulev, right?
Yeah.
Yes, he went to Bulgaria and fought. So it was,
But remember, he's
way
younger than these people.
He's been around a long time to talk about his age now.
Yeah.
But he's taken on dangerous fights. So when you take on dangerous fights, I liked him against Wack. I liked his last fight against Wack.
You like that last fight on the undercard the other day? I
liked it. He tried a different style. Normally, we were saying how boring his boxing was. He was on the front foot this time. It wasn't bad.
Do you know how bad that was?
Enjoyable fight. Come on,
Chann. That was so bad. The geezer that he fought was like, he was like an 8-foot Andre the Giant, right? And he was like staggering, like he was like 40, 41 years old.
Marius Wack went 10 rounds with Dylan White.
And the geezer weighed like 20 stone. It was such a bad fight. And this is what I'm saying, yeah? And they was like, Hugh Fury did the best, XYZ. But then, because he was on the Pulev undercard, right? And then everybody's got mad critiques about how Joshua beat a 39-year-old Pulev with ease and pizzazz and everything. But yet, Huey Fury went to points with this guy that could have been his dad, old enough to be his dad, and was in the poorest physical shape. It was grim. The guy looked like Andre the Giant. If anybody remembers WWF, this is who Huey Fury was fighting. Awful.
I saw a different fight. I saw a different style completely. He wasn't so defensively minded. He was very much on the front foot.
Yeah.
He was letting go.
Anyone could
He slugged it out.
Yeah, but he gassed out in that fight as well. At one point, there was just like slugfesting.
When you're having a slugfest, you will get tired. You need a bit of a rest. It takes your energy throwing punches.
It's awful. Like you're 26 years old. You're supposedly a great prospect. You're on the undercard of the person that you actually fought, and obviously he beat you. I can see why, but fair play, you actually fought him, and then you fight this guy that's old enough to be your dad, not ranked anywhere really, and nobody really knows anything about him, and went 12 rounds. Get up. Get out of here. Huey Fury, get out of here. Have you got any?
We've got a few more. He can go another 10.
Yeah, he could.
Awful. Smoke, do you know anything about Huey Fury? TBE, do you know anything about Huey Fury?
I mean, I've actually seen him fight. I mean, I've heard of him naturally because he's Fury's brother, but I never.
Please go and watch the undercard just for me, and then we can talk about it another time, right? TBE, we're going to talk about it. But I need you to watch the fight to see if you saw what I saw. If you saw, just see whatever you saw. And also, Smoke, I'd like you to watch it as well. Please watch the fight.
Which the undercard for which fight?
For the Joshua Pulev.
Okay, all right, yeah, I'll check it out then. Yeah, I want to see it. I've been hearing a lot about him lately, though, for some reason. I mean, he's been popping up here and there. So, What you saying? He's no good?
He's, in my opinion, he's trash, right? And the only reason why they're building him up, saying that he's great, he's not even got his man strength. It's because he's Tyson Fury's nephew or cousin. Like he's called Huey Fury.
No, I think he's done decent so far in his career.
He hasn't got his man strength. He's 26. You've been had your man strength. They're talking about Teofimo Lopez has his man strength and he's 22, 23. This big 7 foot oaf. What do you mean he hasn't got his man strength? What do you mean he's like 300 pounds and 7 foot? This is wild to me. Please watch it, TVE. Smoke, I don't know if he's there. He's on mute. But if you can hear me.
No, I'm here. Listen, Marius Wack was good enough for Dillian White. He was good enough for a lot of guys in his day. Did he look like crap? Yeah, he did. But hey, if Huey Fury can throw some hands, maybe there's some hope for Adrian Broner. Maybe he'll go back, get in his time machine too, and find out where his punches are.
Did you see the fight though?
I did. I thought Huey Fury was trying to perfect the new style of boxing where you win fights without throwing punches. But in that fight, I was like, hey, wait a minute. He looks like a normal, regular heavyweight. Okay, maybe there's something to Huey Fury that I saw. I remember the Huey Fury from the Andy Ruiz fight.
Yeah.
And where he moved around, and if he threw a few more shots, it could have gone a different way. It could have been a different result. And then I saw the Huey Fury in the Pulev fight. And then I saw the Huey Fury in the anyway. So I
Would you
kind
say
of
he's
just
a great prospect? Because after that fight, they was like, yeah, he's going to world level.
Yeah,
are you a prospect if you fought for the didn't he fight for a title? He's a challenger. Like that's what I find kind of weird about the guys like Hergovich and Joe Joyce. Like calling Huey Fury a prospect and these guys a prospect. Like he is the most accomplished prospect of them all. Like we're still just talking about him in terms of being a prospect, but I don't see him that way. I see him as a challenger, right? He's just not a very good.
He went for a world title already. This is what I'm saying. So this is what you can't be a prospect if you.
Was there world title? Was there final eliminator? Was that the so if he had beat Pulev, wouldn't he have been fighting AJ just now?
Yeah,
I think he was
mandatory.
Yeah, right. If he would, that would have been Fury. Yep. He fought for the title and fought for an eliminator that Dillian White passed up.
I would still consider him a prospect with more experience than the average prospect.
You're not a prospect if you went for a world title.
He's been in enough fights to be not called a prospect.
Yeah, he can't. He's been in too many fights.
Top level fights.
He can't fight Povetkin and didn't he fight? But Povetkin, Walk, Ruiz, all of these guys are the championship
all
level.
I can say is we haven't seen the prime Huey Fury yet.
Yeah, but it doesn't mean just because we haven't seen the prime, he's not a prospect. He's not a prospect.
Fair enough.
Yeah, he's definitely not a prospect. And for me, he's just not the guy for me. But
he's fighting for a world title again.
I don't know where he goes next. I can't remember where
he'll
they said
long enough. He'll get another shot. He'll get
another shot. Yeah, definitely. But I don't know where
he
goes.
hasn't had a shot yet. He's had a shot for a final eliminator. He hasn't had a world title shot, has he?
Yeah.
So, he will get his shot, and I think he'll be deserved.
Yeah, I think in like 3-4 years, 5, he could be a champion, right? Like if he can wait guys out.
Yeah.
I mean, this current crop is already a little bit beat to hell, right?
For sure. Karma, I said the same thing. She's interested in David Adelaide, sparred with both AJ and Fury. I was telling that to my friend a couple of days ago, and he's a great prospect. He's like 24 from out 23, 24 from out of West London. He's sparred with both AJ and Fury. He said, I think he gave the pros and cons of both AJ and Fury. But he said once they fought, but it's a bit biased because he's on the Frank Warren team. So he said that he felt that Fury has what it takes. He feels that he would beat AJ. Well, that could be an honest, unbiased opinion, but also I'm saying, although he's sparred both of them, he's signed by Frank Warren. So you're not really going to say, I think AJ would beat, you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah, but he's a great heavyweight. I would say that he's a good prospect to just keep looking out for. Yeah, because he bangs. Big lad from, I think he's Nigerian descent.
Yeah, so I said Big Baby Miller, but I meant Big Baby Anderson. His name's Jared Anderson,
Yeah.
21-year-old guy out of the
Oh,
Midwest,
I thought
on top rank.
yeah.
He's one to watch. 6'4", 6'4",
What's his name? So I can write it down. What's his name?
Jared
He
Anderson.
goes by
He
Big
goes by
Baby as
Big
well.
Baby.
Oh, he goes like Big Baby Miller.
No, but his name is Anderson.
Yeah.
He's just his nickname is Big Baby. He's another Big Baby, but
Oh,
his name is Jared Anderson.
yeah. He might need to change it. You know. His
Yeah, I think so. I don't know why grown men would walk around call themselves big babies, but
yeah, and you don't want it mixed up. And when you're doing Google searches, that he comes up as the PED guy. You know, you've got to be careful.
Hey! At this point, if he can distinguish himself, he probably needs all the publicity he can get. So if he can distinguish himself from his fists and ride that dude's coattails, it is what it is. We live in
You don't want to be riding tainted, dirty through the mud coattails.
Hey,
What about Alan
you
Bandage?
just try fighting in obscurity. If you got to get punched in the face, you might as well have people know that you're getting punched in the face, right?
I don't know. You see things a bit different, but hey, we're all
What about
different
Alan
people.
Bandage, guys? What do you guys think?
He's out. He's got a shoulder injury. He's out. He's out
Like for good or like for some time?
for some time. They don't know yet. He's going to need surgery.
Shoulders are a funny one, aren't they? Shoulders take.
Gillian White said it's one of the hardest if you can come back from that type of surgery, from that injury. He said he warned him as well how he was fighting, how he wasn't training to do, strength and conditioning of the rotatory cuffs. When they go out, man, they go out.
Yeah, man.
Lomachenko suffered the same injury, so we're waiting to see what Loma looks like when he fights after he's had this operation. So you never know. So Babbage.
Hey, lady, can I ask you a question? Have you ever wondered why Lomachenko had a professional a photo shoot
In
from
the
a hospital
hospital.
bed? Like, who took those photos and why did they take them? Like, what's going on with that?
Probably you can never discount anything in this sport of some form of could have been fake, could have been corruption, but it could have been real. I just think I don't know.
No, I think he was hurt. I just say, like,
But why?
all I'm saying is. All I'm saying is that
he
there is a public persona that everybody has in this sport, and they put it out there in really subtle ways to let you know, like, yeah, this is still me making sure that my image is being protected, my self interest
Yeah.
are being
Yeah.
managed and cared for.
Yeah. So it was kind of a thing like, oh, I fought Tiafimo, but I had a bad shoulder. But I done the gallant thing and still had the fight. But look at me now. Look, this is to prove it. Look, like, yeah, it's just whatever the weather. It's a load of PR stunts certain time with boxing. Sometimes it's less boxing and more PR. It's like it's acting a lot. Like we're dealing with like athletic actors at this point.
Also, I was gonna say, Lady Chann, do you feel like Eddie Hearn has more like priority for AJ's career? Like, I feel like he's planned and outlined AJ's career more than any of his other heavyweights. In terms of
That's money, isn't it?
Why wouldn't he? That's the big money. That's the
Most
big money.
precious
That's
asset.
proud though, isn't it? Yeah, he definitely has great decisions.
Yeah, well, Barry Hearn himself has come out and talked about his plan like years ago, right? It doesn't seem to be any different, right? And he talked about it at several points throughout the years, and it hasn't changed.
But
AJ's already talking about retirement. I mean,
in about 5 years, yeah, he said that, but he did say that like 5 years ago that he only wants to be in the sport another 10 years, so he's halfway through that. What are we gonna do without AJ? Am I gonna stop doing commentary? Once AJ leaves, I leave.
Well, you love you some AJ.
I don't know. It'd be quite weird though without him in the sport. It will, but I know we'll see him a lot. Like he's an ambassador of it. I'm sure we're going to see him doing Sky Sports commentating and commentaries, and like we're it's not like we're just not going to see him. But
It's just probably going to be weird that
maybe you might fight some exhibitions like Floyd Mayweather and still make money.
Yeah, he could do that as long as he's not too old and fighting UFC fighters and fucking YouTubers. Then I'm cool.
I just don't want to be sitting here in 20 years' time watching the final Joshua versus Wilder in a bloody exhibition. That would really get on my damn nerves.
Could you imagine, Lee? Could you imagine if they do that to us?
Yeah,
It probably
yeah.
still wouldn't happen. It probably even then wouldn't happen.
Roy Jones and Mike Tyson took 17 years to marinate.
I know. Delayed. I'm not up for that.
The funny thing about that is that that fight did over 1 million pay-per-view, which is a lot more than most of these current fighters are making, because we're not really getting the fights that we want to get. So it's ironic.
It is. And like I said, they're two heavyweights, so yeah, they could be brought in the mix, because they still want to fight. Roy Jones Jr. just called out. Who did he call out? Glenn. Who did he call out? He called out that guy. Yeah, he called him out. I don't understand.
YouTubers are making bigger pay-per-view fights than actual boxers.
Than actual.
It's crazy. I mean, it's not like they're doing boxing.
It's not right. I feel like
the promoters are absolute trash. Like, I mean, I can appreciate them for what they are, but to me, Bob Arum is a spent force. The way he promotes is just psyops, and I think it's more toxic for fans than it is like building a spectacle for us to enjoy. Eddie Hearn is a used car salesman. The only thing that he actually appreciates is something that he's making money off of, and everything else is trash. Al Heyman is Mr. Unknown, and we have whoever it is that is promoting at any particular time at that point seems to be the fighters who are always promising you knockouts. And it's not the best competition because they only have the people on their rosters that they're fighting. And what is it? Oscar and Fishnets De La Hoya, who lost his right. While I like Ryan, it seems like he's making more money off of Instagram than he is off boxing. And Virgil Ortiz is exciting, but can he actually carry the weight of the vacuum of Canelo? I don't think so. I don't think it's fair for him to even try.
Yeah.
We want Don King.
Yeah, all right, so the one Don King, only in America, is still getting sued by his fighters. The two of them that he's got. I mean, I guess he can get Bermain Stavern, another Mando. But yeah, I don't know. The talent vacuum that is in boxing right now is, to me, is palpable. That is where the issue lies. Is that these guys cannot sell a fight. The fighters are their own promoters, and they have no talent at actual promotion. It's just cutting out the middleman is their issue. It's all business concern. Somebody that has some talent needs to step up into this thing. Frank Warren, I didn't get on this guy too much. I don't know too much about him. He seems to be a guy that does like local things there, and he does good by his fighters, but I don't know. His fighters don't seem to make it over here.
Sorry, so this is what, he doesn't really transfer in the States a lot. So this is what I put on the poll. This is the reason why I did the heavyweight show, because I was like, do you guys want me to do a lightweight show, heavyweight show, a show about promoters, and I can't remember something else, but and everybody picked heavyweight. But while that you guys are here, because I'm gonna wrap this up, because why I'm gonna say this is because I want everybody back on another show, and I want to ask you, what show do you want to do? Maybe we'll do a show towards maybe at the weekend, because I need a day off because I'm working till Wednesday. So I'd like a day off, please. Like, too. What show would we want to talk about? Like, would you want to talk about the promotion side of things? You want to, like, what specifically? And I'll write it down, and we'll formulate a show for the people's at the weekend. Is everybody cool to be able to do a show like on Saturday or something?
Yeah, I'm cool for Saturday.
Definitely.
Cool for Saturday, Sam. Cool for Saturday, TB. Cool for Saturday. Are you cool for Saturday, Smoke?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's generally fight day, but we don't have fights going on right now.
We don't have a fight either. So we could do it at a great time, so we're not everybody all lagging. Maybe we'll do it. All right. What should we do? What would you like to do the show on? We could talk about what do we want to chop it up about?
Possibly like the ethics involved in boxing. So
We could
like
cover ethics, like what the boards of control. What like ethics? Like what the
ethics? So like
what like Mauricio Suleiman or
yeah. So like what's right compared to what makes money, if that makes sense. So like
yeah,
what's the right decision that should be made?
Yeah, for a show, it's a bit boring.
Okay,
we could touch on that, but I don't know if that will be the main bulk of the show.
Promotion is a good one though.
What about comparing the way the fights of yesteryear to the fighters of today, and see like for example, we could talk about the heavyweights of the last 2 generations compared to the heavyweights
today
of today, or the welterweights of the Leonard Hearns, Sugar, Hagler, from 147 to 160 compared to today.
To 175. Master the heavyweight.
No, from 147 to 160 compared to today.
Oh, 147 to 160.
Yeah, compared to the 147 to 160 today,
So yeah, we could do like yesteryears of weight cats. So 147 to 160. I think that would be. I think because that was very interesting back in the day.
Yeah,
that weight cat, the middleweight and super middle. So yeah, and you're forcing me to go to school. I'm gonna have to go to boxing school for a couple of days, but I know bits and pieces. So cool. I think that would be a good show. So 147 to 160 from yesteryear to today. That's what we're gonna do. Do you think that's good, guys? Everybody?
Yeah, definitely.
Sammy, you would have to do your homework with me, love.
Yeah,
we're, as much as you think I'm an old, I'm in the younger category. You're in the young, but I don't even have to research.
Yeah, there's a lot of good fighters in that category.
Yeah, a
lot of good English fighters, a lot of good American fighters too.
Yeah. Oi, so this is the thing. Oh, what we could do a UK US type of show as well, where comparing, maybe a weight cat that's from that's represented in the US. Like right now, so like 135 weight cat US is running it compared to it here. So we could digress into that. So we could probably mix that up into the show.
The good thing about the 147 to 160 is that there was a lot of good fighters on both sides of the pond in that category.
Yeah, there was. Yeah, no, because we had Chris Eubank Senior. We had who was his nemesis? Nigel Benn.
Nigel Benn came over, and eventually Calzaghe came over.
Yeah, we had Joe Calzaghe, amazing. So that was a great time for US and UK boxing anyway, with that weight cap of yesteryear. But I just think there's sometimes how you guys were, the US was great with heavyweights, and then now it's us. We've got more or less the top heavyweight. So I think shows like that would be good because it also helps people learn about the history of boxing, which I like to learn about. So I think we could do that. So I think we could safely say Saturday. Let's get a time now while I've got you lot all by the nose.
Any time is good for me.
So because you guys are 5 hours behind us. Lee, so shall we do
I'm 8 hours behind you. So whatever time you guys pick.
8 hours. Oh yeah, because you're in Cali.
I'm in Cali. Yeah, I'm in Cali. So whatever times you guys do is probably gonna be fine with me.
All right. Yeah, but I don't want to I wanted us to do do you want to do all right. Ooh. So Lee, because he's 8 hours behind, are you cool with doing UK time 7:30 p.m. but for you it'd be 11 a.m.
Yeah, that's easy. On Saturday?
Yeah.
Easy breezy.
Guys, are we all down for 7:30 p.m. UK, and you guys suss it out, whatever it is? It's going to be 2:30 for you, TV, I think, right?
Yeah, it's no problem. Yeah. I can do any time.
Yeah? Coolio. Then is that good, Sam? Was that good, Sam and Leon?
That's
Yeah.
good to me.
All good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, we're good. I'm gonna chop this all up. We've had there's so much. Look, there's even Jed's cut. See, everyone's saying like Nigel Benn was a gangster of a boxer. Ben V. McLean. You could do shows previewing.
There's some good fighters in British back in the
G-Man.
day.
We could do shows previewing prospects, but we kind of covered some of the prospects already, didn't we, guys? Really,
Yeah.
that was got incognito. You missed it but I'm gonna chunk it up and then put it out for you guys. We did cover prospects not just not too long ago. Ethics in boxing. Lady said boring. Look. Lady said boring.
bad.
Straight up. Incognito. We could touch it, but yeah, it's a bit boring to do a whole show on it. It sounds like that's more of like a university dissertation, like, you know. But yeah, so we can do it. Look, everybody's coming through. Thanks for coming through, because everyone has come through, and we've had an amazing live, you know, like, you know, a lot of people have come through and some people have gone. I see numbers drop and then people come back, and you know, so I'm gonna have to chop this all up. I'll store it as private, and then I'll, like you said, Smoke, I've never timestamped before, so
Yeah, so yeah, you don't have to make separate videos. You can make this one video and just put the topics like separated by topics, and just sort of, and then put a timestamp. Yeah.
So is there a timestamp thing on my YouTube? So
yeah, as soon as you put a time in there, it'll come up as a blue link. So all you have to do is put the times, and then it'll separate it out.
Oh, is it? So
It'll jump to that spot. Yeah.
So if I put the times in the description.
Yeah, and then you put the numbers. You know, the if you say, you know, the AJ versus, you know, prospect part or Philip Berger's part, and then you can put the timestamp where you talk about that. And I think there's also another way, but I'm not sure how you do that.
Yeah.
That's just straightforward time thing. But there's a place where you can
chop it up. I may still just chop it up into segments.
Yeah, because there's also a way that you can do it in the time bar that's on the, you know, that's at the bottom of your screen.
That runs across.
Where you can do it that way too. And I'm not quite sure how you do that. That's a little bit more involved than just putting the timestamps in the chat.
Yeah.
In the comment section.
Yeah. Hi, Jed. My name has got 2 N's, Jed. CHANN. But what up, Jed? Because I always see you in my comments and you're always showing love. It's a nice pic there. Yeah. So I'll look into it. Don't worry. I'll get it all. You know me. Get all my stuff on lock. So I'll get that all sorted out. And I'm so hungry. I'm gonna say thank you to Get the Smoke joining us from California. I'm going to say thank you from Fight Fan Figures joining us from London, England, and he always joins me. His team come box with Chann all day long. Respect Lee all day. We got respect to my little general, Sammy Ali, soon to be into the amateur boxing. He's always supporting the movement, supports various people's channels. So Sammy, please subscribe to TBE. TBE straight out me here not at all.
Yes.
Never show thy enemy love. Yeah.
Big up to everybody, and I'll see you guys on Saturday.
Yeah. So big up to TBE. I've got everybody's contacts in I've got you guys' contacts anyway. So yeah, in the private chat. And all you guys are the dons, because you guys have stuck by us while it got heated, while it got cray, while it got settled.
It's all love.
And yeah, and I'm so sorry that I couldn't go through. Lee, can you see all the comments?
Yes, I've been flicking through as we've been.
I'm not ignoring you guys. I literally, it was just so many comments, and I feel honored that you guys have been so interactive, but there's a lot of comments. And but I'm going to be interviewing on live tomorrow, female boxer. She's up for the WBA champ, but she's going to, hopefully she's against Shannon Courtney. So, bantamweight, Rachel Ball. If you want to come through, guys, and put questions in the thing, it's going to be only me and her. I'm not going to let anybody into the actual interview, but you guys could leave questions and we'll interact with you that way. Que lo que? TV, tú sabes. Oh, I think you've got a Spanish speaking mummy. So, yeah. So, guys, I would have to say thank you. And I bid you all adieu.
Take care.
Yeah.
Take care, Lady Chann. Yeah, thank you for having me on the show.
You're most welcome.
Right,
Guys,
see you on Saturday.
Yeah. See you
Obviously,
Saturday. I'll hit you up anyway. You know where to find me, Sam.
Perfect. All right. See you.
Yeah. Yeah. See you later. Guys, thank you for coming. Look, there's a man chatting shit about Don King. Yeah, everyone in the chat is officially Team Lady Chann. That's where you gotta be. So, you know, I hope you guys all. Sometimes at the end of my chats, I try to, you know, put all the comments up, just some that I can see, you know, because I appreciate it. So, yeah, Hearn is an AJ owner. This guy Volts UK. You guys, he's had a lot to say. But I'm going to bid you adieu. I need to get some beauty sleep. Clearly, I really need it. These lights are really tell the truth, didn't they? So, guys, thank you for joining me. And this was Come Box with Chann. Give me a while. I'm going to chop it up, and then the first bit will land tomorrow in a section. This was obviously a 3 hour and 20-minute show. Hey there, this Lady Chann, but nonetheless, gone. Come Box with Chann.